Markets back in positive territory, getting going on a brand new week. Once again, coming off what a performance for not only the Nasdaq, not only for tech stocks, but the market across the board in last month's monthly charts. We're going to talk about monthly charts coming up here with Michael Noss in a few minutes. He's got a few thoughts around the Warren Buffett cash pile that is approaching 400 billion right now as the market continues to make all-time highs. That's how the Nasdaq is looking right now ahead of Palantir earnings to come. A little bit of news this morning on Uber, just seeing Toast, company named Toast, teaming up with Uber, not really moving around on that, but a few headlines last week for Uber. We'll touch on this Nvidia headline this morning as well. It keeps going back and forth. Will they or won't they be able to ship all of their products into China? It's looking like this latest deal between Trump and Xi that we talked about at the end of last week, not going to include certain things for Nvidia. Nvidia doesn't care. Back to the upside this morning, along with some of the other semiconductors at this point. If you're keeping score, it was the better part of 5% on the month for the Nasdaq, 4.8% last month for the Nasdaq. About 2.5% then for both the S&P and the Dow, pretty impressive. About 2%, we'll call it 1.7, 1.8% for small caps. Mr. Dara is beside me to start things off this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
I mean, pretty impressive, not only for tech in general, but these stocks just continue to float higher even this morning.
Yeah, and why not? We have so many catalysts. A lot are going to continue to be in this data center space. We know some big deals this morning for IREN and CIFR, in addition, of course, to the Microsoft Nvidia deal apparently happening here with regards to the UAE. So there's lots of excitement. Speaking of deals, then we've got Kenvue with Kimberly-Clark set to acquire this company. That's going to be a mega deal. We'll have to wait and see if that gets some approval. And then another deal-related catalyst here. Pfizer, once again, for the second time now, suing Metsera and Novo Nordisk because they're a little bit upset that Novo Nordisk outbid Pfizer for Metsera. Yeah, pretty good move here for KVUE, NYSE stock, all the way up to 19 bucks. We're coming in a little bit. As you said, this is a big deal, so we'll most likely take some time to get this across regulators' desks. This was kind of an interesting comment this morning. It was early on from Scott Bessent as well, saying parts of the economy already in recession, but the rest leading anyways on the tech side of things, on the manufacturing side of things, still looking really good, and that's typically all they tend to look at. We will get some ISM data coming up this morning, 9:45 and then 10 o'clock. ISM, S&P, among the data points that we're still getting with this government shutdown continuing. We'll also talk about University of Michigan sentiment coming up later in the week, Friday morning. That's really the next look at inflation or any kind of data point that has inflation included in it. That'll come out 10 o'clock on Friday morning. But ISM this morning, ISM on Wednesday this week as well. Happy Monday, guys.
Good morning, everybody. And yeah, you know, it's a happy Monday for the market. Obviously, all started off by saying it was an absolute epic series. Congratulations to the Dodgers, man. That team it's a super team. Yamamoto was the best pitcher on the planet for that series. There's no
three
question.
Wins all on the road. The guy
was ridiculous.
All on the road.
And he comes in a day after throwing like 90 pitches to shut it down. So, I mean, to be honest, the craziest thing about it, I woke up on Sunday morning thinking I was going to feel like as dejected as I was the night before. Daughter had a smile on her face. My wife and I, the first thing we were doing was talking about on Sunday morning, spring training plans. When are we going? When are we booking off flights? Like that kind of a thing. Aaron was just so happy to be on TV. That's the other thing that was absolutely crazy. My daughter got on TV twice for a sign and was losing her mind over it. So it's a lifetime of experiences I'll definitely take. And now we're on to the Bills and the Leafs because that's all we got left.
Exactly.
But we got to shout out.
The Raptors, apparently.
Well, the Raptors are not going to win. I don't think the Raptors are going to win much of anything for a couple of years. The Leafs are a playoff team. Let's be real.
Let's hope so.
I mean, you don't think the Leafs are a playoff team?
I'm trying. I'm trying. I don't know. I hope so. Yeah, they should be.
I think so. I don't know. By the way, this is we should give a shout out to
I haven't these up yet.
Bertrand.
Bertrand? Okay, I wasn't here when he came
from
through.
France, came by like really early and dropped off 2 boxes of Krispy Kreme donuts. He was on a layover and was here for a couple of days and decided to drop these off. So now we have copious amounts of. Actually, I haven't even opened it.
Donuts.
Is it?
I want to know, are they the fancy ones or the OG?
It's like a little bit of everything.
Fancy ones.
So I don't know. These are ridiculous.
Oh, they're loaded with stuff
Yeah.
inside of them.
That's what I'm gonna have.
God, I haven't even had a coffee.
I'm not even waiting. I'm having one of these. Why? Because I need extra treats today.
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe take 2 or 3 of them. Yeah, no, it's sad about the Blue Jays. I mean, ultimately, no clutch hitting wasn't able to come through, and that's baseball. I was telling it to Neil. I was like, so many different things happen in every single game, and it is what it is, right? We had many opportunities to win and didn't, and the Dodgers did, man. They had 3 solo home runs when they needed them.
Yep.
And we couldn't get a base hit if our life depended on it. So is what it is at the end of the day. Palantir reporting tonight. We're excited about that one, breaking through $200 there on Friday. Now we get to see if it continues to ascend here into their report tonight. Don't know what to expect, but we'll talk about it and see if we can sort of piece together maybe where this name goes soon. So that's Palantir to the upside. Nvidia is one of the names that are getting higher here. There's not too many names that are actually starting to move around too much today, but Nvidia up 2% will help out the market. We had a dip down on Apple on Friday after their Thursday earnings report, so we'll see. That was the earnings reaction there, and they're getting ready to break lower here as well, Apple. So they didn't like that report too much on Friday. Will they be able to hold that bottom here today as we open up basically at the lows here for Apple? And then the one that worked last week late on Thursday was Amazon, and we'll see if that can continue its march here as well. But that also had a dip down. I'm thinking more of a long on Amazon because their report was well liked, and the day, however, wasn't. But I think this bottom is a little more secure right now than that of Apple's. So we'll have a look at all of these names. SoFi going to be a good name as well here today, trying to break through $30 back to the upside. And then we have Robinhood reporting later this week. There's a bunch of different names that are coming at us this week. It's actually a pretty big week for earnings names as well, right? So lots of names coming through. And then we have Coinbase. And unfortunately, I was going to say what happened to Uptober. I thought crypto was supposed to be Uptober. It was, I don't know, shit-kicktober, because I don't know where Bitcoin actually was at the beginning of October. Maybe it was flat. I don't know. But everyone was talking. We had that even graphic that was saying Uptober for IBIT. I know we're going to go, Brendan mentioned going over monthly charts, but this is where Bitcoin was on October the 1st-ish, was basically at all-time highs. And now you're breaking lower. So this is the thing about seasonality. It doesn't always matter. As you can see here for Bitcoin, it did not matter at all. We all look smart when things work out, but then what happened to this? Let's figure it out with IBIT very, very soon. Oracle, Uber's another one that reports this week as well. So that should be an interesting name to watch out for. So we're excited here. I don't know. I think Sharif is off today. I'm not sure. People asking about where his note is. So I'm going to go with Sharif is off. I asked Joe and he didn't know. So he is off. There it is. He is. Oh, he's not.
He'll be late.
Oh, he's late. Okay, he's going to be coming in. There he is. So Sharif is on his way in. But yeah, you can get our watch list no matter what.
Always.
I don't know. We have it's a weird website, but hit the link in description to grab the watch list, and that's going to be coming up
free
every single day. Yeah, exactly. And members with the Sharif's note as well. So yeah, we're working on our own notes here.
And now we can enjoy
on the donuts
while we listen to Michael, maybe.
Yeah, we do have Michael Noss coming up very, very soon as well.
So good this looks.
Yeah, those donuts are really good. The Krispy Kreme ones are
too good.
The normal ones are great reheated. Like you put them in the microwave for 20 seconds.
But once you've had them like a million times.
I gotta have a sip. I gotta have a sip of coffee. Yeah.
I feel like when Krispy Kreme first came out, sign would light up, everyone would lose their minds over it. And then after a while, it was just, kind of a thing. That said, this is probably way too many donuts. I'm not gonna lie. Like there's another
12. There's 24
but there's another
donuts.
box. Yeah, there's
I know,
24.
Oh well, thank you so much for your nice treat, gentlemen who stopped by here. So, all right, let's go back over the desk.
Just reading Google Alphabet starting a 8-part US dollar bond sale. If you remember, Meta did the same thing last week. So not sure Alphabet looking to raise $15 billion from US dollar bond sale is underway. So we'll touch on Alphabet maybe coming up here. Michael Noss is waiting patiently for us on a Monday morning. Happy Monday, Mr. Noss.
Happy Monday.
It's his favorite time of the month because he gets to go out and look at in this case, big green monthly candles once again. We were just touching on, as the show came on there, almost 5% on the Nasdaq for last month. I mean, 2.5% basically right across the board for everything else.
And I think the monthly candles do a good job of actually painting the picture of kind of where we are right now. And, you know, for those who may be day traders and short-term swing traders, I am too. And I really recommend this exercise anyway, because sometimes we get a little bit too caught up with, you know, the forest for the trees, so to speak. So once a month, and I love when my time on with you guys line up with these new monthly charts, is I sit through and I just go through a list of, you know, a couple hundred ETFs on monthly charts. And sounds like a lot, but it really only takes like 10 minutes at the end of the month. So I highly recommend, even if you're a day trader or a short-term trader, you do the same, because it just pulls you out of all the news and the noise and, you know, the chop that we saw, especially at the end of last week and all of that. And I think there's an interesting kind of picture and narrative I want to get to here as well. So the first one is just going to be the S&P 500. And, you know, this kind of looks exactly like a lot of people kind of feel and expect. We're on XLK there. So I think you're on slide 2. Actually, slide 1 should be the SPY, but there we go. Perfect. And yeah, just up and to the right, and another strong month. And, you know, again, each of these is 20 trading days. So it shows that internally you can get all this kind of chop back and forth, but it also shows how much a pullback could be in order to even be healthy. Like, imagine we came back to that 600 area that we broke out of. That was the all-time highs before the tariff tantrum. If you're looking at this chart, that doesn't even seem like it would break structure or even be a bear market. So, you know, you look at that and you kind of get yourself prepared for what a pullback could look like. And you look at it and you say, well, you know, that really wouldn't be too bad. But I want to go through some of the components. And we've talked about this before, where the S&P 500 is essentially made up of 3 major sectors. You've got your XLK, which is the next chart, and that is technology. And this one, you can see very, very strong, especially last month, very, very strong month into new all-time highs. And this is where I think a lot of the bubble talk is coming from, is, oh my God, that this is a bubble because look at this, but this is pulling the entire index up. It's like 30% of the S&P 500 is technology. But if we look at the other major sectors, it doesn't feel nearly as bubbly. It could just feel that this particular sector is running hot, and maybe there's some catch up, or, you know, maybe this is showing us more of what the average stock is looking at. If we go to the next chart here, which is XLF, this is financials. And last 3 months, last quarter, we've done just about nothing. You know, I've got a little rounded top there. I hope that doesn't play out, but we are just hanging out at the all-time highs that we were at the end of 2024. We've basically done nothing this year in financials. So looking at this, if I were to show you this chart alone and you didn't see the S&P 500, you didn't see the XLK, you probably wouldn't be thinking bubble. So then the next chart is XLV, or healthcare. So again, these 3 are kind of the big 3 sectors in the S&P 500. You know, a little bit of a trend line breakout that we've gotten on this monthly chart, a little bit of a breakout of that anchored VWAP, but this doesn't feel bubbly to me either. So when I look at these, I say, okay, are we in a bubble in the market, or are some sectors just running really, really hot? And in which case, you could see maybe long-term rotation when things kind of cool off. And this next area that I'll show you, this next chart, the last one here, before I do a little Warren Buffett dig, but is RSP. So I talk about this chart all the time. This is one of my favorite charts. This is the exact same name that's in your SPY or S&P 500, but it's no longer giving that really overweight to tech. Every stock in this chart, or in the S&P 500 here, is weighted equally. So the smallest guy has as much impact as the largest guy. And we are right at these highs. And this shows to me that the average stock, the average large cap stock, and I didn't bring it, but the SPY and the IWM and the small caps and the mid caps all look the same. This doesn't feel very bubbly to me on the average stock. It feels like there may be pockets out there that could be kind of scaring the market. But as a whole, we've had just kind of an okay year. We're up a little bit, you know, we're up near all-time highs, but really not too much has happened. So when it comes to, okay, do I think it's a bubble? Do I think the bubble's going to pop, the thing that everyone's talking about? I'm kind of like, yeah, maybe tech, but, you know, we sell finance, we sell healthcare, we sell industrials, we sell all these other sectors that really haven't yet broken out. So I wouldn't be surprised to kind of see that rotation. So the last big bear thing that I hear everyone talk about this week, and this is what the next chart is talking about, is Warren Buffett's cash pile. I could not go on Twitter. And one of my favorite things to do if you follow me on Twitter is I like to send out like a really spicy tweet. I know people get heated and just turn off my phone for the weekend. And that's what I did with this. And what this chart is essentially, for those who don't know, everyone's talking about that Warren Buffett's got like 300 billion in cash, and that's super crazy. And he must be doing it because he thinks the bubble's going to pop and it's a huge end of the world. So, like I always do, as a technician and a quant, I went and I looked at the data, and I said, okay, what happens after Buffett goes and raises a bunch of cash? The cash amount is going to differ because obviously he's grown his cash amount over time. But what happens when he goes and starts raising a bunch of cash? What is the return of the S&P 500 6 months from that point? And you can see, other than 2008, which was obviously a bad thing, there seems to be kind of no correlation to slightly it's better to buy when he raises cash. So moral of the story with all of this is just kind of zoom out, try not to pay attention too much of the narratives, and understand that it may not be the most interesting thing in the world, but there are sectors other than tech. So if at some point the market is going to cool off and tech is going to pull back or stop moving a little bit, that's going to be okay, because I think there might be other sectors under the hood that end up taking the lead and moving on from there. So yeah, nice little zoom out. I like to do it once a month. I highly recommend everyone else do it as well, because it just gives you a nice overview of actually what's happening in the market.
So just to clarify, if we can go back to that real quick, Andre, this is looking at the S&P 500 going out 6 months from the day Warren Buffett reportedly has a massive cash pile or has gone massively to cash. So for the most part, 6 months out from when he does that, the market's actually higher. Am I wrong in saying that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. So what I looked at is when he's gone from, under 5% of his portfolio being cash to then over 10% of his portfolio being cash, which right now I think it's like 30%. And it doesn't seem like he does it. Well, obviously no one can time the top, but if you ever followed Warren Buffett's work, there's nothing in The Intelligent Investor that I saw that said, hey, if you think it's a bubble, raise a bunch of cash and try to time the dip. It's kind of the antithesis to what the guy's doing. So I think it might just be more of a deal flow thing. If he's not seeing the deals that he wants to see, then he has a bunch of cash. But yeah, reading this chart is just from the report, which, these reports are always delayed, but from the report that he's gone from having a little bit of cash to way more cash. What does the S&P 500 do 6 months from that time? And in most cases, higher. I would say this is enough just to kind of call it random. And I personally don't think the narrative out there has been that he's raising a bunch of cash because he thinks the market's overvalued and it's going to crash and all of that. I just don't think that's what he's doing. I just think he doesn't see any deals out there to deploy his cash, so he's just not.
And if we go back to the first chart we showed there, or one of the first charts there around the Nasdaq and XLK and tech stocks specifically, I mean, it feels like we go through this almost on a monthly basis where it's tech, it's tech, it's tech, it's tech, leading the rally in the overall market. That narrative doesn't seem to be changing, but at the same time, the market continues to just go higher. So it's really easy for us to sit here and come up with reasons. I guess I'm by nature a cautious type of market participant, and it's really easy to come up with reasons why we shouldn't. But here we are, back to all-time or almost all-time highs again.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those that we always focus as traders naturally on what's in play, what's moving, what's the media is talking about. And it's just been tech for so long that I think we're a lot of us are focused on that is the market. And kind of what I'm trying to show with these other charts is that there's a lot of different stocks out there that are very important. And what if there is no bubble that pops, but what if everything's priced in and tech just goes nowhere for 6 months, a year plus? I think, just looking at what I'm seeing in the charts, that there's other charts that look primed to break out and primed to move. And when we really look at what is the stock market, right? It's a market of stocks. So we don't need to have Nvidia, getting to like a $10 trillion company in order to push this market higher. We just need Nvidia not to, crash down to a $1 trillion company. Maybe it just, everything's priced in, it hangs out, and then we have financials or healthcare or biotech or small caps or somewhere else kind of grabs the baton to carry us higher.
Which at the end of the day, all of what you just said would be very, very constructive and healthy even for the overall market.
Yeah, it would show that the AI is doing something, right? We've been talking about this forever, where if AI is going to make gains, we should see it in the smaller companies. You should see small caps start to be able, drug companies make better drugs, or industrial companies be able to, build things cheaper or better. And so if we start to see this trickle down, yeah, for me, I'm looking at that as it's a huge positive thing, because there's some value that's happening there inside of AI that's kind of trickling down to the rest of the economy that's just not AI adjacent.
Michael Noss, happy Monday. Best of luck today. Best of luck getting into a brand new month. Once again, we'll do this again in 20 trading days from now.
Talk to you then.
Figure of speech.
No.
Thank you very much there to Michael. So American Resources just made a big move here to the upside because they announced a $1.4 billion joint partnership with the U.S. Department of War to expand domestic rare earth magnet supply chain in partnership with Vulcan Elements. So if you're seeing AREC pop up on big volume, that is the headline. It's a pretty solid runner this morning. Volume okay. Heading into, I guess it would have been earlier in the month highs. So yeah, looks like there is this one. I didn't really see like any super small cappers this morning, but this one might stand out and take the cake. We also we had Michael talk about some monthly charts. We're going to have Joey options at the beginning of the month. Maybe talk a little bit about some upgrades, downgrades, and some options plays.
Get this started.
I don't hear his mic.
You're muted. Okay, he is on. All right, we'll get that all figured out. We'll get the audio figured out. But
there's a headline right there.
Yeah, there it is. American Eagle announces Sydney Sweeney. Oh no, American Resources. Okay. What is even happened to Wasn't it AEO? That's what it was, right? American Eagle. There, they had that Sydney Sweeney. I think it's about nothing. Yeah, I guess there was the big bump up and just trying to hold out right now. There it is there. Yeah, of course, AERC is the one that we are referring to there. Oh, no, this is a different one. AirCap Holdings, 133 right now. But you know what? We saw last week, we saw USAR, the rare earth name starting to go upside. That's fading down a little bit. MP. Some of these rare earth plays are actually at levels now that, look much better, obviously, than where they were 1 month and so ago. We heard Michael talk about all these different kind of markets that were out there. Here's another one that if you do think, and I've written down here on the sticky note, which I'm just getting out right now, is SMR. So hopefully we can trade some SMR today. Again, another name that's in a hot space that continues to bump off of those lows in the low 30s, continues to get a little higher. I mean, today it's lower, but we're running into some key levels, and we'll talk about those as well. But Joey, microphone is now ready.
I swear, I promise. All right, guys, let's take a look at some of these upgrades and downgrades, and then we'll get into some options activity momentarily. All right, guys, at the top of the list, we have Cisco by UPS, getting that price target raised to $88. And then Edward Life Sciences by Raymond James, getting that price target raised to $96, up about 0.9% on the session. Roku by Piper Sandler, that price target $135. And then Netflix as well, too, guys, on the upgrades list by KGI Securities. $1,350 is going to be that target, and we're up about 1 1/3 there. Now, Luminar Technologies getting the downgrade, guys, going from a market perform to underperform. Slightly positive on the session. Now, Rigetti Computing, surprisingly the quantum space has been really hot as of late, guys. Price target lowered to $42 by B. Riley. And then Costco, this one's a little bit of a surprise right there. $1,000 is going to be that price target by Oppenheimer. And then DraftKings by Sanford C. Bernstein, getting that target from $55 to $50. Good morning, Ramin. So yeah. That's what we have for the upgrades and downgrades. Now, as for some of the options activity, guys, SoFi at that $32 strike price expiring at the end of this week. We're sitting on approximately 24,400 current open contracts. And this was on Friday's session. You had 6,900 contracts traded. And then META. META. I have my eyes on this one at that $660 strike price expiring once again this week. Open interest, 5,000 with that volume. Pretty high at 16,600 there. And then Palantir reporting after the bell, guys, 210 strike price expiring at the end of this week. Volume on Friday, 22,800 with 24,000 contracts still currently open. Look for that to increase this afternoon, this morning, and obviously coming into, tomorrow as well too, just after the open, considering it has going to report after the bell. And then as for some of the options activity on the SPY, this is going to be at that 685 strike price. This is a 0 DTE, so it's going to expire today. I found what I found relatively interesting was that at the money IV is substantially low, so you're not going to be paying too much for this contract. I have a quote here for 6 of them. You can see it's costing you around $522. That's the max you can lose on this trade, but once again, it's 0 DTE. Make sure you know what you're doing. On Friday's session at that specific strike price, you had 101,000 contracts traded with 14,400 still open, and you can see the spread is extremely tight as well too. You obviously want to look at that within your options activity. The delta is relatively low as well, and then the gamma isn't going to add too much effect to it. But one thing that I'm also keeping my eyes on, guys, we'll take a step back here, is META. I want to look for a potential bounce here in this name. Just be cautious because the at-the-money IV is still slightly elevated, considering this is day 3 of that massive gap down. So be patient. You don't want to be going, you don't want to be buying contracts directly after, because you will lose the value of that contract just to implied volatility alone. So be patient, wait for those indecision prints, and then maybe we can get a bounce in META, guys.
Well, META is definitely in need of a temporary bottom after the earnings quadunk, or whatever we're calling it here. And it wasn't like I said, it wasn't even like a bad quarter or anything. The good news, at least temporarily, like always look for, we talk about the 3-day rule, let things calm down a little bit. Really the essence of that is the market's in price discovery mode, right? It's just the 3-day rule is just a euphemism for the market's trying to figure out where to price things. And when buyers and big money emerges, sometimes it can give you a hint. And it bounced 650 once. It held 650 effectively at the end of the day on Friday. It's holding it for like the 3rd day in here today. So this is a pretty key day for META at that particular price at $650. I think, obviously, like I'm someone that believes this is going to work long term for them. But when you look at this, considering where the market's at those highs, you have to make the argument that until proven otherwise, META is a little bit weak. It's under the 200-period moving average. It's in a slight downward trend from the highs, or you could say it accelerated one. And, ball doesn't lie at this particular point when we're looking at this, relative to, say, the Nasdaq. You could look at the SPY as well, but basically the same thing. So this is the key crucial day. I think the 650 is holding for now. I think it's all systems go once it does for that 3rd day to catch a little bit of a bounce in META.
All right, yeah, thanks, Joe, for all of those interesting reports. I think META is going to be an interesting one today. Of course, we'll wait for day 3 plays on that. I think we're on day 2 maybe today, day 3 for META. So we'll see where that can land today. Bitcoin suffering today as well, down to 108. So we'll see if we can get some love for Bitcoin. I'm still looking at that SMR level. Getting the sticky note is actually now out. But yeah, it's IBIT trying to hold. Oh yeah, Ramin, we got some Krispy Kreme donuts over here. Yeah. We had a, I guess in taking down some of the plastic around here and in more painting and whatnot, we do now have a bunch of little black, it's like shrapnel from all the dust. It's like a paint dust. I don't exactly know how to explain it, but like everywhere you just kind of see, like I just did it right there, just randomly, a spot that I already cleaned, and I have black soot.
I'm trying.
I think the word soot is a good one.
It's not really. If it was really soot, that'd be a problem.
I think this is a problem still. I mean,
I almost don't want to do that because
There we go. Thanks, Ramin, for showing that. Yeah, so if you're trying to commit a crime around here, like your fingerprints, it'd be easy to, I think, be easy to find around here. So, but anyways, yeah, we are breathing it in. So that's great, Matt. So if you always wonder why, this kind of stuff continues to plague us around here, yeah, we're breathing it in. It's great times. So.
Yeah, if you wonder why I'm taking Tylenol in the afternoon from the headache that I'm getting.
Yeah, and if you're wondering why I'm not going to be here tomorrow, no, just kidding. I'll be here tomorrow, hopefully. All right, we'll talk to you guys very soon about all these plays and many more. We do have our watch list. We have a market rundown. We have many things happening, and it's about to start right now.
All right, a couple things. First off, MDB, MongoDB popping up here this morning. New CEO named by the company in the pre-market here. Not a lot of volume behind this, but $400 name, so worth noting on the back of some expectations on the earnings side of things as well. Speaking of earnings, there's a lot to come not only after the close tonight, but the rest of this week for earnings reports. If you haven't done so yet, jump down to the description of this video. Grab the watch list. It's free. Top link in the description will get you to that site, and then all you need is your email address. As I mentioned, comes right to your inbox. Let's talk about Nvidia. Not doing a heck of a lot here on the back of course, my chart's not working. On the back of this news that they still don't really have any clear idea of what they will exactly be able to sell into China. It doesn't look like their top products are going to be included on that list on the back of this China Xi-Trump conversation from last week and deal that apparently we're going to have signatures on coming up here in the next week or so.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Nvidia, though, right now is just popping up once again, so lots of action for Nvidia. We know also president of Microsoft, Brad Smith, apparently saying to Financial Times that Microsoft and Nvidia or Microsoft's going to be able to, I guess, to use Nvidia chips in the UAE. This is news we already kind of knew, but still positive here, or at least viewed positively for NVDA. Now, with regards to China, Brendan, it's a bit confusing because we have heard many different things from all the different parties. We had Jensen Huang saying a couple times this weekend that he was pretty confident there would be some kind of China usage, but he's also said during the GTC keynote that they're still going to be fine even if there isn't any usage there in China. Meanwhile, Trump saying the chips are super duper and he's going to speak to Xi about them, but then he doesn't. So super back and forth. As you said, there's really not much of an update, but that's just a quick recap of what we know.
Super duper. Yeah. Amazon inking a $3 billion deal with OpenAI to support NVIDIA chips. So Amazon jumping into the ring of sharing profits. To the upside we go here, guys, for NVIDIA.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I mean, right now, Amazon's all the way back up to 254 right now and still going. I don't know what just happened with Marvell there. Marvell actually spiked into the $100 level and now bounced back down again. So
it's part of the same story, I think.
Yeah, but still, it shouldn't. That was way too violent there for Marvell up to 102. So I don't know if something's brewing on this name as well. But here we go, another deal from another unprofitable company like OpenAI. Apparently now $38 billion getting that thrown around. So get ready for all your IPO money. Has to go somewhere, man. When this name becomes public, OpenAI, that should be a very exciting IPO
this
day.
This is knocking Microsoft down.
Yeah, well, it's a cloud deal, right? So. What is the news exactly? $38 billion. It's actually not even on Benzinga yet, so I don't see it.
It's just a $3 billion deal to...
Okay. Well, anyways.
So check that. No. $38 billion.
Yeah, $38 billion. Yeah.
It's not 3, it's $38 billion
yeah.
for OpenAI. So you got Microsoft down. I mean, it's now red, but it moved about 1.5 there. At the most, it moved 1.5 to the downside.
Cloud, or what do they want?
Absolutely flashing. Look, Amazon on this, and we'll get to NVIDIA in a quick little second. Like Amazon was not part, this wasn't part of the plan today on Amazon. But all of a sudden, just got to start thinking about maybe like the places to hold. Friday high, that's going to be 254. If something were to really fall apart, the 249 to 250 areas on Amazon, I'm just going to put those. Oh, I had one of those already. Okay, I actually apparently had that second level already. But yeah, 254, if we get any kind of a dip and hold at the open, is going to make some sense. Yeah, I mean, OpenAI spending all of that money, that play money out there that they got, it's going to be such an interesting IPO when it happens. NVIDIA is back to a $5 trillion company because why not? It was always going to happen. It was just a matter of when. I'm not going to change plan too much, except for I think there's maybe a little bit less of a chance to get a dip into like afternoon resistance 2 days in a row was at 204.5 to 205. That was the dip zone. As long as you're over that, I'm looking long on NVIDIA. Didn't really like the notion of a 208 break, and it's at 208 right now, so I'll stay away from that. There's always VWAP as well, but I'm only looking long in NVIDIA, 04 half to 5, VWAP, and we'll revisit this 208 closer to the open after it has a chance to settle down after this.
Yeah, $38 billion partnership under which OpenAI is accessing AWS compute, compromising of hundreds of thousands of NVIDIA GPUs. With the expansion, a possibility tens of millions GPUs, tens of millions. Oh man, well that means that hopefully my AMD, I mean, this was all written down before all this action started to happen. I'd set AMD at 260, 250, or even a drop into 258. So it looks like right now on the note here, we may get AMD coming back into 258. I mean, it's happening right now. And again, there's only so much money that apparently can go around. And if Amazon was potentially looking at something with OpenAI and AMD, now it looks like they're going to choose to use these NVIDIA chips, which obviously can't be great news for AMD, but it's great news for the space. And I don't think AMD dip down here is probably a selling spot. I think it's a buying spot. So it just came into 258 right now. I'm going to let it settle down and see what winds up happening, but that was your 200 period moving average. And then here's 260, 250. It was the high from Friday. And I was just thinking to myself, like, if we can break through that area, shoot. Of course, now we have that big wick problem there. But if we could break through 260, 250, some of these areas over the last couple of days, then I think we can get higher and get up to 265 and go from there. But some of the breakouts haven't been that great. So this won't necessarily be a huge breakout off the open. It's going to have to get there. So once we get up to 260, 262, then we'll have a look. But I think with this news, we're going to be able to dip buy here on AMD. So let's let it settle down just a little bit. I don't, these lows is what we're really looking for. If we can get something around 254, 253, then that would be fantastic. But unfortunately, we're coming right into this 258. So we might have to scrap that level and just have a quick look. It was that high before we faded out. So this is where we're trying to get long right here for AMD, but this news may get us that way even quicker than we thought. So, and how that's affecting NVIDIA is, it's just upside. So you could see what's good for one may be bad for the other. That hasn't necessarily always been the case when you're watching these two names because, again, sympathy, like we could get another announcement immediately with Amazon and something to do with AMD or OpenAI. I guess the deal would be with AMD. So there's going to be lots of news coming through over the next couple of days. Keep your ear to the ground. I mean, that's the big thing to do with all of this. But there goes NVIDIA, man. The winners just keep on piling on for this company. And I think it's going to be a long for sure, even breaking that 210. What is let me just double check all-time highs. I want to get you that exact number before we go. The all-time high is 212.19. So that's going to be within striking range, probably right off the open. They'll most likely be a buy and balance. So tonight, okay, we do have a big report, obviously coming from Palantir. The name that has a 600 PE, will something slow it down? We'll find out tonight.
Well, first off, continuing the slide here, it's trying to hold a key level here from Friday. But if you remember, you go back to the beginning of October 6th, Marvell announced an infrastructure deal, a networking infrastructure deal with OpenAI that also involved Samsung and SK Hynix from a few weeks back. So this could obviously be negative for Marvell if they end up now choosing AWS and Amazon to go in that direction anyway. So Amazon to the upside, NVIDIA as well to the upside, Marvell downside, all on that. Yeah, let's talk about PLTR coming up after the close tonight. Will be the headliner definitely on the earnings.
Yeah, sorry about that. Absolutely. I mean, Hims and Hers also reporting at 4:05. That could be another one to watch. But we have to talk about Alex Karp's Palantir. Neil and I will be giving those earnings live for you at 4:05 p.m. That's when they're estimated to arrive. Check out the market recap show for that. We are expecting here, Brendan, 17 cents per share for earnings and revenue of $1.09 billion. Now, this company is always on watch here, often associated mostly for its government deals, though it does have other streams of revenue. With the government shutdown, though, there could be concerns, and I've seen some concerns circulating and proliferating on social media about can we still get these contracts with the shutdown happening? PLTR probably going to be fine either way, but certainly something to keep an eye out for, maybe with regards to tone during the earnings call.
Yeah, ho-hum, just more all-time highs this morning for PLTR.
Yeah, I think you got to separate we'll get to the earnings and reaction in the aftermarket tonight, Joe Adair and myself, for sure. Like, this is going to be the one that everybody's going to want to talk about. They're not the only ones reporting tonight, but I feel like they're the only ones anyone wants to hear about. And you can say everything you want about the PE, but PE only matters when it does. And in this type of a bull market, it doesn't really matter right now, ultimately. The only downside I'm thinking here, at least because my first thought was, hey, it gapped over the prior high. Obvious dip level for continuation would be right around the 204. I think I actually said 203.70 in the note, but that's the area. And then down here in and around the 200 and play those. But with this Amazon Nvidia news story, might take those two. Those might take the cake now for me, to be honest with you, because now you got a catalyst here for Amazon, and obviously Nvidia already had one. So I don't know if this is going to be the top of the list anymore to look for the dip buy, because now all of a sudden, if we get a dip at the open, you've got two names with big catalyst, and Amazon big time relative volume, whereas Palantir doesn't have a real catalyst. So I might back off going for Palantir, at least until maybe the opening range gets put in, and throw Amazon up. And I already had Nvidia as part of the plan. You never really know. That's why we're here. That's why we're live. You don't know that $38 billion contract's going to come for Amazon, which puts it a little bit more in play than Palantir right now.
Yeah, we have, obviously ahead of earnings, it's always going to be tough to trade a name day after earnings and similarly day before. But I think what I wrote down on the note here today, it's on the sticky note, it's the #1 trade, is that if the market does fall down, then yeah, I want to get some Palantir today. I mean, I wrote down 202, so it's this area right into here. I mean, you can see it's starting to turn down a little bit. This could easily flush. We've seen some big, huge moves off the open on Palantir. Flushes that had no business happening. Like on this day, we go up to 198 and then flush back into 194 before taking 198 again, right? I mean, the same thing happened on the weekend, on Thursday, where we flushed down into 198 before an hour later being up at 205, all-time highs again. So if we can get a flush down in for Palantir, look, looks like to me, there's a lot of buying and a lot of support, in somewhere around these areas. Now, I know that we did break there near the end of the day, but this is sort of the zone between 201 to 202. I wrote down 202, and I said that if there's market weakness, this is where we want to sort of be sitting here to buy. So I'm going to be trying to buy some Palantir up here. And I don't even really want to break that high of 206. We have done that before, and it didn't work for me the last couple of times we took out some highs. I think it might have even been this $200 high right here that we had to break, and then it came back, and then it ripped for us. So we were almost like dead in the water a couple times trying to buy breakouts, and they just didn't work out the way we thought. So I do love the 206 break long, but I think if we're going to do that, it has to be like half a unit. It can't be like our 2 or 3 units like we always try to do. And then we'll have to wait for a drop into 204, 205. That's a 200 period. So that's the first area. I don't want to get that. I'm looking where there is some possible support right into here for Palantir. So I'm looking for 201, 202. It's what we wrote down on the note. I like it. It's Palantir, a name that I like today heading into earnings. And look, I mean, honestly, everyone could hate on Kramer, but when it was at 50, he mentioned 100, then a 150, then it was 200. Now, he's made the call of 250. Is that finally the sort of the nail in the coffin here for Palantir? Tonight's earnings are going to be exciting. Let's wait to see what happens. Before I throw it back, I want to make sure that I do double check the short float on this name, as I was just looking up some Marvell. Oh man, even my keyboard, yuck. Has all this soot on it as well. Here it is. Palantir, oopsies, go into the overview, and it's only 2% short, so we're okay on that run. But here it is tonight, man, 5 p.m. conference call. Wait to see. Join Neil and Adair tonight for Palantir earnings, and join us to trade it right now. 202 long is what we're waiting for.
Let's go on to IREN. This chart continuing to impress. We're right back to highs, essentially, set to open up here this morning. For IREN, that's a daily chart looking absolutely fantastic. $9.7 billion AI cloud services agreement with Microsoft to deploy, guess what? More NVIDIA GPUs.
Yeah, this is a pretty significant tune. Dell also being positively impacted by this, if you guys want sympathy plays, because apparently they're going to be providing IREN with the said NVIDIA GB300 chips and other equipment Microsoft's going to be using. That's going to be about $5.8 billion, that aspect. Now, this is a 5-year deal, so again, valued at almost $2 billion per year. That's pretty significant, and it again shows that these companies are looking for computing power to run these applications like ChatGPT. And it's also not the only deal of its ilk this morning. We know CIFR or Cipher also had a deal with AWS this morning as well. So a lot of these mining companies initially associated with Bitcoin are really finding other uses, specifically in the AI and compute space. So this is certainly going to be a catalyst to watch out, of course, for today, but also going forward, I think.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on both of those coming. I was just reading a story here on Boeing as well. A bit of a downtick on this, which is kind of interesting, coming back towards 200. Boeing selling a portion of its digital aviation solutions unit to Thomas Bravo for $10.5 billion, all cash. So Boeing looking a little bit weak on that news, guys.
Oh, yeah, Boeing didn't have the best week last week.
No, they had bad earnings there that one day.
Yeah, they're just going to have to settle down a little bit. I think between IREN and CIFR, CIFR is holding its breakout. You know, it looks a little bit stronger. It's above the volume weighted average price, kind of broke away. And then IREN here, it's just not doing anything. If you're looking at both of these gappers, like IREN is pretty much like dead. I don't know how much you're holding VWAP, so gapping and holding VWAP is good. And then also you look at it on the daily and it gets consolidating underneath like the prior high at $74.50. So yeah, this one's not on the radar for me at all. And actually, hey, nice. The next two are actually on the list for me, names that I actually hope to trade. But IREN, I think it's a pass. CIFR, I think you can have a look at because that's holding the breakout. It's got some more volume to it. Looks like it's got some pep in its step. But now IREN doing absolutely nothing for the last half an hour.
Yeah, I think Microsoft there catch a little bit of an L on that Amazon news. So, because you could always choose Microsoft for the cloud computing, they chose AWS, OpenAI there. So that's going to be a little bit of a hit there. We also saw Microsoft pulling back from last week. So, I don't know, like I feel like, I mean, Michael came on and talked about like how there's a lot of strength in the market, and maybe right now it's just not in the tech space. We already sort of through earnings. We had Microsoft last week, right? And so, and we've seen a nice little, Microsoft reported last week, didn't they? Like, I don't, not a huge move, up to 570, 558, and then pulling right back in again into the 50-period moving average. So we're getting into some 500 love, it looks like here for MSFT. Like, I don't know, I'm still long only, but there's a lot of these NASDAQ names that are starting to get a little top heavy here, it seems like, after earnings. Look, we survived September and October, which were really bad months, apparently, for the market. And if you look at that, I mean, we're kind of just, here's September, here's October, and now we're in November. We're kind of starting off where we started from. We're back to where we started from on all these names. So I would say watch out here for Softy. I think there's some downside pushing happening today. I'd actually like to be short Microsoft. And I'm actually thinking about shorting Amazon as well. I mean, this is just such a huge move, almost like a parabolic move up there, up 5.5%, 6% on this for AMZN. I mean, we've seen Oracle pull back on big deals announced with OpenAI, and I'm looking for pullbacks here in the whole space today. So that's why I didn't write down anything on the TQs. A little bit hesitant for longs here today, and Microsoft is not one that I would choose. Microsoft actually looks like it might be breaking lower. So I think all eyes today are going to be on Palantir and Nvidia, and that's why I wrote down AMD as well. Some of the nuclear names, some Rigetti, some quantum names. And then, yeah, the IREN deal, as Neil had mentioned there, you know, if it was that exciting, it would be moving around a little bit more. But, you know, you have that breaking spot right here at 72.50. So I would say look out below if that ever snaps through. But yeah, I don't know, up 20%. I think if you caught that yesterday, it was a good move. But for now, we're right back up to where we were in the middle of October. So I would, I'm looking to actually fade a lot of these mega cap names here today. Despite the Nasdaq being up 0.81, Tesla's going to be an interesting play. Crypto still sliding down. We do have BYND as well with more news today. So that's down a couple points. Let's go find out what that story is with Brendan and Adara.
Ford just out with monthly numbers here. 175,584 units total. U.S. October sales, 22,207 of those EVs. Ford never moves on that announcement. So that's Ford. Let's go on to BYND. That's the headline this morning, if you missed it. They had some issues that they were talking about, and they need to now reconsider said earnings report. So they've pushed it to November 11th.
Which is interesting, Brendan, because when they did their preliminary report on October 24th, they already told us about these charges. So it's a little bit unclear, at least in my opinion, what they're trying to reconsider. That being said, there are companies that have delayed their reports with less notice than this. Or to be clear, less than 48 hours of notice is not a lot of notice, but it's certainly better. I remember CleanSpark delayed it like the day of before. But yeah, it's a little bit odd that the charge you have to reconsider is a charge you already warned us about. I think that is certainly something to remember in case you were not aware of that fact. But yeah, yeah, really there's not much more to say about this than what was just said. October was a big month for it. They got nearly to $8. They were added to the meme ETF, ticker MEME. Big excitement there for BYND, and now it's all kind of gone.
For those wondering, we're still well off the lows here. You got to zoom out a little bit to find those lows, down around 50 cents, guys, but back to $1.50 once again here for BYND.
Yeah, well, you know, it was a good squeeze while it lasted, which wasn't
very long,
terribly long. There was a couple of good days in there for you off the $1 level. Since then, it's essentially just been a short till it's not. Like every pop has been a fade. Sometimes you have to be patient. Other times you don't. The last few days you don't really. Like 170 is a 2-day high, which was a prior low, and even if it never gets to 170, I'm looking short on this thing until it makes like higher lows around about something else than this downward trend. So I think it's headed back to $1 until it proves it's not, and the 170's in there. The prior high is essentially where it is right now. So if it breaks this top and doesn't get to 170, I'll just try a mean reversion or like a trend break on Beyond Meat. I paid for locates on this. It's kind of one that'll be there every single day. And the day that it finally makes, if it makes some kind of a rounded bottom and can break this trend in front of $1, then maybe you get another couple of days worth of rally. But until then, it's a short. There's also this THAR, Theramun, which is going a little bit ham here. Trading higher as they announced they entered into a $540 million private placement to fund the Canton Network blockchain strategy. So THAR up 130%. Beyond Meat, not so much.
Thar acting Thor-like. Okay, so I was going to say for Beyond Meat, yeah, I mean, rescheduling your earnings call is not a great thing. They did have, obviously, their moment in the sun where they thought that they finally discovered meat, but then they were beyond that. So, and then now it's all the way back in. I think it's heading to $1, and then maybe you can make a play there, to be honest with you. I mean, rescheduling from the 4th to the 11th, on some sort of a cash impairment charge or something. I mean, obviously it would be nerving, but they're already not making money. They are close to and filing for bankruptcy. We talked about that. Then they get that little bit of a save there, and the market started to go crazy with it. So I would just say, like, let's be patient with Beyond Meat here today. And yeah, the daily doesn't give me much to. Whoopsies, I'm still on this ellipse. The daily doesn't give me much to deal with. So if you look at the 1-minute chart. Again, yeah, not much there either from Friday, as for some reason my Zoom isn't working. But right into here, if we zoom back out a little bit on the 5-minute, I mean, you got some great levels. Neil just sort of talked about them there, but in the 160, 170 area for a fade on Beyond Meat. So I would say right into here looks like a great area. So if we can get up to there, for me, because of the short float, I'm actually looking to maybe think about a long, because then we would be over the 200 period. We would be also over the 50 period moving average. I'm actually looking for a long break in and around 175 for Beyond Meat. So let's see if that can get going here today. Excuse me, I'll play the flip side of it. I'll look long with a 60% or whatever short float there for BYND, down another 8%. Hey, maybe there is something in the earnings report, which now we know is a week away, so we can sort of get ready for that and possibly pop on some kind of earnings or, again, a squeeze happening again, because everybody that's stuck near the top, maybe they'll try to give it another go. And if they do, then Beyond Meat around that 175. Let's see if it breaks and we can go from there. We want to thank our friend that came through. I remember his name. I wasn't here. Bertrand. Thank you, Bertrand.
At some point, we get the
for these. Well, we'll give them
in the back so others can get them.
Yeah, we will. We'll put them in the back for everybody else. I don't think Randy's here today. I have not seen Randy.
No, I didn't see him.
Unfortunately, we're going to have someone else supervise everything around. All right, let's go back over the desk.
Yeah, what a weekend to have a layover in Toronto.
Yeah.
World Series, all kinds of crowds in town.
Intense.
But yeah, thanks to Bertrand for stopping by very early, as we're saying. He said he had to get to the airport. Heading back to France this morning. It's Monday, so we get the latest updates here from both Strategy and Tom Lee as far as their holdings and what they did last week with both Ethereum and Bitcoin. 3.4 million ETH now. Or about 2.8% of the total supply of ETH for Tom Lee. If you're wondering, Strategy just over 3% on Bitcoin. total holdings here. So end of the day, more red numbers coming through here for crypto today.
Yeah, the strategy number is always going to be staggering. We know they had their earnings report as well on Thursday night, along with Coinbase and RIOT. So that is 3 crypto names that are technically day 2 earnings for those who pay attention to that sort of thing. I want to mention as well here, Brendan, we're poised for a second red week in a row for BTC. There is this support level here showing up around that 106.5 level. Right now, trading below the key level of 108. For Bitcoin. So lots of different equity opportunities to trade this, but worth noting as well here, the weekly chart on Bitcoin may be a bit of concern.
Yeah, we'll see about the individual names as well, a little bit to the downside right across the board, as you mentioned, for the miners specifically, more so than the Coinbases of the world, guys.
Yeah, actually, you know what's interesting? Like, there's some strength coming back to gold and silver, which I'll get to in a quick little second, while you're seeing this weakness in IBIT. As the market continues to fly higher and the Nasdaq now almost 0.9% to the upside, getting back to where that spike, almost to where that spike was on the Amazon NVIDIA headline. IBIT 61.5 into 61.6. That was a low on Friday. It was also resistance on Thursday in the morning. Like right away, we dropped off this level. So if you cannot break this, which is, it's around the 108 level. It's actually going to be above 108. If we don't take that out at the open, I think IBIT is a fade into that support. And until we get there, as Adair mentioned, it's a little bit closer to that top. So I think looking for a quick pop and fade into Friday's lows, I should say, is the first look for me on IBIT. But I feel the opposite about silver. I think Sebastian in the chat was just pointing this one out. Look at the consolidation. Silver made a double bottom. Silver made a higher low. Silver now consolidating here. This is 44.80. I think if we can take that out, there's no guarantee it actually breaks this level today. It just needs to go 1% more, and then it breaks out that level, and you've got a little bit of a gap here. Small gap to about 45.7, and then big gap to 47.5. As that pullback was real, that's a bad wick in there. Pullback was real all the way from 49 into 41. Now trying to claw its way back. So I like that breakout 44.80 on silver. But for now, I'm still bearish on IBIT till it proves otherwise. If we break away from that 51.6, fair enough. But until it does, it's a short there for me.
Yeah, here's a couple different names that are popping around on the crypto space here today. Of course, we have Bitcoin 107 down 6% over the week. Ethereum also down 10% over the week. Like, it's not good, man. Ripple, XRP down 8% as well. Binance down 11%. Solana down 12%. Lido 12. Oh, that's Ether as well. Dogecoin 13. My guy Cardano down 14. It's not, it has been a real bad October ending there for Bitcoin. So hopefully we can scrap that stupid saying and move on to November, because Bitcoin did not have a very good month. And it's starting off here in November. Hopefully we can find a little bit of footing here in the crypto space as they all continue to get waxed. Wax on, wax off. Right now, wax off on Bitcoin. All right, here we go. Futures time on futures on the rate. What are we thinking right now? 66, so 2/3, almost exactly 2/3 of the market right now thinking that we do get that rate cut, 1/3 saying no to that in December. So we'll see. Bitcoin obviously didn't like the last rate cut there, as it's only been sort of going down since that has happened. So maybe there's part of that. And you had mentioned gold v silver as well, but that's interesting that the Fed right now is looking like it wants to cut. I still think it does. I mean, I think when they get the rates, when they get the information, once this government shutdown, which, by the way, right now on call sheet, I think it's only supposed to be 2 weeks here into November. Yeah, 46 days. That would put us on November the 16th. So we're basically trying to get this all settled down. Started obviously on October 1st. Right now the betting market has this as November the 16th or so, when we finally settle that down. And November the 16th is that's a Sunday. So yeah, I guess heading into that weekend, 14th, 15th, 16th, would be a settling down. We did have last week, of course, I think it was Vance that came out and said some of the airlines could be in trouble as this looks to extend through U.S. Thanksgiving. So, AAL and some of these plays, especially because it has the word American in it, if we get shut down a little bit, then maybe that can affect some of the lines and some of the, need for people to travel around. And then plus, if we don't have money floating around, I mean, I don't know exactly, we're obviously here in Canada, but the government shutdown has to be affecting retail numbers at some point, right? And so I feel like if you're if you're a little sketchy on when you're going to be returning to work, potentially you're not traveling as much. So that's a pretty hot take there by JD, and I like that one. And then McDonald's reports later on this week as well. So I think if you are thinking that they're going to report, I would go short on McDonald's, and the reason why, and Wendy's reports this week as well, it's just so easy to use this sort of shutdown as an excuse. If they have a bad quarter, you know, it could be like a lot of their customers potentially, you know, waiting for that check to come through. You know, we talked about being furloughed versus being laid off, things like that. I could see McDonald's being weak here. We've seen, you know, movements down in Starbucks off their last earnings report as well. So there's a lot of different names that have different implications here with retail strength and weakness. I mean, and Amazon, remember, isn't really popping on anything about retail. This is all AWS related, right? And so we actually have Canadian PMI coming today. Not that that matters, but we can check that out as well with only 45 seconds now until the open. I ran up 20%.
Yeah, that one's flying. Not much by way of the balance locator this morning.
No,
Fubo with a small story, but they're up 600,000. Kenvue, of course, Kenvue in a big deal. Being bought cash in stock, that's 500,000 to the buy side. QS is a small sell, 370,000. Neo with its delivery numbers, that's actually trading slightly up, 300,000 buy and balance. So I'd say a little bit disappointing. I saw HIMS in there for a quick little second. They report later this week. Nvidia is a very small sell. They're 170,000 sell for Nvidia. It's the opening bell, first one of the week on Palantir earnings day. Nvidia gets Nvidia, Amazon in play after that OpenAI deal. That's up 3% as we ring the bell. Let's go.
All right, so we're looking, I'm looking, obviously, Palantir here at that 206. We said we'll take it. I will take a break, but it's going to be light. It's not going to be like a heavy take for that one. We nailed it on Friday. It was a monster trade for the long on Friday. Once we finally broke that 200, we got all the way to 204. So let's see if that happens right now. It's going to come up and break. We'll take a small take here on a Palantir break of 206. And when that does break, let's not be too foolish with it. Like we keep on saying, man, we're going to take it light so we can hold it. We're going to watch out for 204 down there near the 200 period moving average. There goes AMD as well as the Nasdaq continues to climb higher. And we looked at AMD and we're bidding 258. So if 258 can come in on that one, then that should be a take for me early. SMR and Apple were the only other two names for me today. So right now, just not in any position, and I'm fine with that for now.
And nothing's broken. Well, I mean, Nvidia did not dip into VWAP. It actually ended up breaking out. I just canceled the VWAP order. If we're not going to get that, we'll look for the first available place to join. It was Amazon and OpenAI with that big $38 billion deal, and they are also ramping up. This one does, so one goes off VWAP, the one that I'm trying to get, and the one I'm not is the one that is bouncing off VWAP here at 255. So Amazon, $38 billion deal with OpenAI. It's now up 5% and trying to hold on. IBIT's not really doing much, but you know what? Bitcoin tends to not go crazy off the open, so I can be patient with that in terms of looking for some kind of a fade. You already mentioned that Palantir is dipping. But as the open, you know how the open goes. Like, there's a lot of volatility. It just does not happen to be in the direction that I was trying to pick up shares, unless it's Palantir back into prior day high. It looks like it is bouncing off the prior day high. Let's see if it can close above. That's 204, 203.70, I think, to be particular, but it's trying to hold on to that right now as we speak.
All right, let us know if there's anything you guys are looking at right now, because the market, although the market's starting to go up, it's not a huge day for anything that I'm looking at, as AMD is still stuck in its range here as well. We did get a little bit of news on Boeing. That's around 200, which is interesting to me, but again, not really doing too much here for Boeing. A name that I want to get involved with, despite China, is Alibaba. So look what that's doing here today, not doing too much again. NVDA, I guess, is the name that's popping into the highs, up 3% now, as, yeah, no matter what deal happens with OpenAI, it seems like NVIDIA just gets talked about. So there it is, NVIDIA, OpenAI, and Amazon coming together right now for a big deal today. Maybe all the shine is just in Amazon, and honestly, it's pretty choppy here off the open. I mean, you get a 259 fade, that's a good possibility. We just touched 258 and came back in. As the market, I mean, is this a little disturbing? Yes, it is to me. The market's ripping pretty much, up 1%, and I'm not really seeing anything.
NVIDIA.
Right now, I mean, if anything, AMD's coming back down, and I'm going to get my first fill at some point here at 258. So I'm bidding 258.10 right now for advanced micro devices, just to see if this wants to hold. And honestly, if we break too much lower here on 258, 257, then we're going to get out of AMD because it's just not acting properly. So I'm not really seeing anything. And on Palantir's earnings day, Palantir's moving $1 back and forth. It's not giving us any direct direction.
Even ETH isn't moving right now. That's down 4%.
Bitcoin's it's not tanking. Bitcoin's down a little bit. SoFi not moving, man. Okay, what
Tesla's
else?
not moving.
Someone just said Tesla for a short. How does the short look?
What about Fubo? Oh yeah,
AMD's
that's right.
coming in.
No, Fubo's not really moving at all. Look, Fubo's a potential for a breakout and small squeeze, but it needs to get above the $4 level. I'm now going down like deep on the list for things that I usually wouldn't even consider till later in the day because it's moving. So in a bit of a deep dive, if Fubo takes out 405, that could be something. I might put an order in for that, but again, nothing too crazy happened, but I am going to put an order in for Fubo because that's a pretty decent breakout and potential squeeze, but it needs to break that 405 level. So stop is going in as I type it out loud.
I have, oops. My Stream Deck is not working. Maybe it's because I'm not logged in. I think my Stream Deck might have got.
Oh well, did you?
Got screwed.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I had to replace my keyboard this morning.
Oh no. Okay.
Because of the dust.
Oh. No, yours. Oh, now it might be working. Oh, there it is. Now it's fruit salad time. Okay, so it's potentially working. I think Joe just unlocked it there with all those bangs. I don't know what happened. Okay, so now we're logged. I do have a position here. It's not a huge one. We're just going to wait for 257 to go through, and if that breaks, then we're gone, man. We just tried 258. We're not married to anything yet. We're long at 257.80. Hopefully, okay. Well, now that I see a little bit of a bump, let's take that. There it is. So we'll take out some there at 10s as we continue to go higher. It's the first trade of the day for me. First trade for first trade period right now. And look, I think this is just an exercise in patience. I mean, if you don't see anything, don't take anything. Like right into here, I waited. Now this is a pretty long time for me, but I waited until this came through, and it still could fall out. But there's AMD at 258.50. Or 258, sorry. So we're going to wait to see what happens. We'll take out a little bit on the high side there, but a break of 257 and we're out here on AMD. I'll try a little bit more down here if we can get near the 20s. But other than that, man, this is a falling. It's not a knife, but there's really been no bids. We caught a little bit of profit there, but nothing to celebrate here. Palantir is still doing absolutely nothing, by the way. And then Amazon's at the highs.
Okay,
this might get going at some point.
At the moment that Nvidia is coming back in, Amazon's actually going higher. So Nvidia is starting to pull back in here. Let's see if it'll bounce off this support that's at that 207.30. So this would be the spot to look. All right, it's trying, get back above VWAP. Oh, no, wow. The second it got to VWAP, and I'm like, okay, it's about to go. Instantly, there were some sellers jumping in. Okay, looking a little bit better now. There on Nvidia. See if we can weasel. What's the term weasel?
That's Tariffs, I don't know.
Yeah, weasel my way in off the support on it.
I tried to win that 50-50 on the Blue Jays. It was like $28 million or something, man. My $10, I guess, didn't fill up there. I don't know. The
50-50, there was a point during the game where, like, I think we're waiting for like Shohei to come out in the first inning or something like that. And like in between innings, it went up $3 million. Like I'm not even making it. Like it was like
no, I know they're advertising it on TV and everything. So they got
5 minutes later, it was $3 million higher. People went absolutely ham on that. Okay, so here comes the market.
Let's go.
Wait a minute. The market's actually coming back down. I was about to say here comes the market because Nvidia is bouncing, but I guess
same. And that's why I was like, what the?
No, the market's actually pulling back in, everybody. So as Nvidia is trying to bounce off VWAP,
hello, everybody.
Look at the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq's actually pulling back in here, believe it or not. So go Nvidia, go hopefully Amazon, and hopefully the market will catch a little bit of a bid here. Palantir also caught a bid.
Yeah, nothing's going on with Palantir, really, is it? Now 204 and change, not doing anything with Palantir. So again, we just took more advantage of that. We did get a reload there, so we'll have a chicken dinner right there. We actually had some good chicken this weekend. All right, 258 15s right there. So we actually wind up getting 25s or so as just trying to let this thing break. They will take another 25 now as well as we're trying to massage this through. If we get to 50s, we're at our day goal. So we don't actually need that much more to hit this, and then we can satisfy that. But we're obviously looking for a little bit more here. I think especially with the futures going to the downside, if the market pops, then I know we have a good one. I'm willing to sit in this one to let it sort of fester and marinate a little bit into that. So here it comes down. We had some steak last night, actually. That was really good. All right, so coming back in now is the market, as Neil mentioned, into VWAP again. So we could watch out for a little bit of a bid here on the TQs if it does come into play. But I was thinking a lot lower than this if we're going to try to trade the market. I was actually thinking more around 118. Right into where we were yesterday on Thursday, right before that drop. So I feel like this 118 area or so for the Qs would be something, or the TQs, that would be something that we'd be able to start to look at over there. My eyes just keep going up because I'm looking for different opportunities.
Big buyer just stepped into Palantir.
I was going to say, now Palantir's finally at 205 and change, so that's maybe starting to go. And then here comes again, so we were able to get some out. You're still in Nvidia, I'm still in AMD, but we are dropping lower on both of these names anyways. So here comes AMD. Looks like on the market move down, we're able to, let me put the right chart up. We're able to get something out on the way up, but at the end of the day, on this break, we will take this L on that, and I may take an opportunity if we bump up again to get some out, because this is going to break. There it goes. I don't know why that just didn't trade. Oh, I was waiting for there it is. I was waiting for 70s, 79s to break, and once that does happen, there goes AMD.
Dara?
So flush down early there for advanced micro devices. Yeah, what's up with Dara?
Yeah, I just want to let you guys know here, a reminder of Amazon, AMZN, really strong today, again, announcing that OpenAI partnership valued at $38 billion, through which OpenAI will be accessing AWS compute, comprising hundreds of thousands of NVIDIA GPUs. So that's the news in case you guys missed it with regards to the strength on AMZN. I do want to remind you as well, it is the shutdown, so we haven't had a lot of numbers, but we do have some today at 9:45 a.m. We'll get the S&P manufacturing PMI. 10 a.m., the more closely watched ISM manufacturing PMI. Both of those numbers here coming from this desk, so stay tuned. First number coming in roughly 6 minutes. Back to you.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir. I want to remind everybody, when you are typing symbols into the chat, first of all, if it's not working, that's because you have to be a subscriber to be in the chat.
Yeah.
So you want to jump in the chat, hit that subscribe button right now. Also hit the like while you're at it, and type $ and ticker. So Tesla's going ham. I don't need to put that one in there. I'll go $ silver just because I happen to be watching it. But Tesla leading the way. IREN, Amazon, Turn, Cipher. AMD's on the list. Nvidia's there. Maybe not as high as it might usually be, but it is absolutely Tesla.
Here comes the market.
As Tesla, look, the market is doing something distinctly different to most of the things that I'm watching right now, so it's a bit weird. The market's pulling back into VWAP, Tesla's breaking out, Nvidia just bounced off the volume-weighted average price. No particular catalyst here for Tesla, except for the fact that it's Tesla. And looking pretty good. Just remember, I think it's 466. Yeah, 466 was the double top from last week as it rounds into that level. I'm going to eyeball this high on Nvidia, because if we fail this top again with the market breaking to lows, this could be a place to jump out and then try to rinse and repeat this trade off the volume-weighted average price. So keep those symbols coming in. Right now, it's like Tesla by like an absolute, it's not even close. It's like 4x Tesla versus like any other symbol.
Okay, so we're getting... So I reversed on AMD. Now, again, like, remember what we said, we're not trying to get like too wrapped up early into this market. It's just, this is a downside play here. To me, it broke that 57 area, which was our last sort of line of defense there on the support. It looks like we only get as low as 56.50 on that move. We could have taken 30 cents. We choose not to do that. I was going to give it up to the 200 period. It just seems like it's a little bit weaker, obviously, than the market, but now I have to change my mind. I thought AMD was going from green to red and going to stay there, especially if this market kept doing what it was doing. Potentially, we are at a bouncing spot now for the TQQs. I did want to check back in on Marvell here just quickly, because this was a name that was doing some crazy moves in the pre-market that I thought, but now it's really settled down. So I'm thinking it's a nothing burger there on Marvell. I potentially would have had a little bit of a wrong read on that one. SMCI, not a wrong read. I was just looking at the action and thought there was maybe some more stories there that was. And the same thing was true for SMCI. We had to move down there early on the pre-market where we started to sort of make some moves, and we heard that right before the open, we were starting to tick down a little bit, and then it did make a flushing move down into $52 again right here for SMCI, and now it's trying to figure itself out there. But that's what SMCI is doing. Some of the banks, I wanted to go long on a possible SoFi dip buy opportunities. That was $29. That's not in there yet. SoFi looking real good at 29 bucks, man. I mean, if you can, we did spend a little bit of time underneath that there on Thursday, but I like 29. It's right into here. If we can dip by that and you can put out enough shares that you're holding for 50 cents, I think that's going to be a trade that gets going in the afternoon. We had seen that happen so many times, man, with SoFi, where it had to move down and then it just drifted into the afternoon. I mean, even on, well, I guess not on that day, but I think it was their earnings day or the day after, we had some big moves and SoFi kept on pulling back upside. So we'll wait to see if there's any opportunity there. And we did take a shot. We did get a little piece there. We got some 90s on this AMD short. So we were able to make 30 cents at one point. Let's see if it wants to continue to make a downside play here. That's Advanced Micro Devices, but bouncing off of 257. So I'm just going to stay in this and wait. Kenvue, maybe. I know you're
Kenvue's that's on my radar, but not for the normal. It's a huge deal with Kenvue, but it's a lot of stock. That's the kind of thing that you want to be trading when you can watch both of them together, maybe at lunchtime. But I just jumped out of Nvidia. I said if it failed to break out that high again, I pull out and look for VWAP one more time. So VWAP once was able to get you a quick $0.50, then $1, and it failed at just in front of that 209. We'll look for another bounce off the volume weighted average price. The other two things that I'm looking closely at, in addition to maybe getting into a dip buy, is as that was happening on Nvidia bouncing off VWAP, Amazon's done it as well. So might have just missed a chance for Amazon holding VWAP. OpenAI, $38 billion. $38 billion. It's big money. And Amazon, obviously at fresh highs post earnings after that. So looking for 256 and VWAP there. I'm still trying to get short IBIT. Have not been filled here.
Amazon?
That's Amazon.
Oh, it's the same price as AMD. I was like, oh my God, I'm doing the same thing over here.
Yeah, I actually find it annoying if two stocks have the same first letter and the same price. It makes it a little bit tricky in your order log. But IBIT here, gonna short this one to the local high. If it's not gonna pop up and give me the fade there, then I'll try to short it pretty much right here with like a 61.25 is my out. Adara?
Yeah, we're just waiting here a couple seconds until we get S&P manufacturing PMI 52.2 is the forecast. Previous was also 52.2. Coming in here at 52.5, so slightly above estimates of 52.2 and the previous print of 52.2. Here's the Nasdaq oscillating a bit on this now. In another 15 minutes, we will get the more closely watched print. That'll be the ISM manufacturing PMI. Stay tuned at this desk. I'll give you that number live as well. Back to you.
Hey, I mean, right now, man, finally, we had the ability to switch it up short, and here it comes, man. Now it's starting to bleed down a little bit. We're now 75 cents in the money here on AMD. So the short, we had written down long, right? We tried the long. We tried to let it hold. That pre-market low does not do that after ripping all the way up into 261 again. And then, so I was like, you know what? I'll play a fade coming back in. But that fade continued. So we did switch over into a short. And I don't know if it's going to print or not, but we did get out of about 25% down in here into yesterday's close. So Friday's closing prices in a 265.50. It's not a huge move, but it's 75 cents, 80 cents, depending on where you got it. So that's so far so good here on that play. But again, now it looks like it wants to get right back up. And the market's trying to figure itself out. Bitcoin's also not doing anything. So in hopes of trying to find something else that's going on, we will look at the market and in general here in a minute. But this is what JP Morgan is doing right now, up to 310. So maybe there's some bank strength there. But then look at that. Like I thought it was bank strength. That was up to 312, and now it's down into 310 again. So I'm just going to hold on to this AMD here, man. And if I can get another bid in the middle of this range, I'm going to do that. So I'll put a bid here into the 60s again. And remember, we do have this little like and subscribe counter right here. Last week it was, there it is, 21.3.
Now it's 21.3.
We got to get that a little lower, guys. We got to get that subscribe number higher. Yeah, we need to get, let's get a 1 in front of that digit. Hit your like.
Think of it like this. Subscribe. You want to get down to a PE that you would buy right now, which means
I'd buy 21 though.
Okay, fine. It's true. I'd buy 21.
Let's chop that PE in half.
Speaking of which, WDC.
Speaking of which, here goes.
I actually have to. This is one that I was thinking about, and I didn't mention it when we had the opportunity to. This trades at like a 21 or 22 PE after being up 6x from April. People just make the assumption when stocks do this that they must be horribly overpriced. It's not always true, everybody. That one I can't get over. I expected this to be a little bit more expensive than it is. Not that I'm going to trade it up here, but Western Digital not exactly having a bad time of it lately. stock has been an absolute rocket ship, like a lot of other things. But maybe a rocket ship. I got to check silver in a second. But went to VWAP here on IBIT. If it breaks out the local high, I'll jump out and wait for the actual top, which is playing back into Friday's lows. But for now, there's some resistance here around the 61.25. And then silver, high-ho silver, looking long. I mean,
holy shit.
Everything is just sort of inside days here. It's not moving much, but it is trending up. So that breakout is going to be in play if it can take out 44.8. But I'd like to see it maybe hold on to VWAP here and we can jump in to some silver on the way up.
I was going to say Tesla. Yeah, I'm gonna do an ad in a second here. But Tesla, man, wow, what a move! 454 all the way to 467. This stock is on fire right now. TSLA, and it's funny because like I was looking, we didn't have any real notes of significance on the get down AMD. AMD's almost $1 right now, but then into 468. And there is some exciting news that we have to talk about as well with Beta Pro because they do now have the largest inverse levered inversed triple X, right? So you can get into triple X, 3X bull and 3X bear exposure into the S&P, the TSX 60 semiconductors, and also U.S. Treasuries. They're also offering a fee rebate by dropping management fees to just 65 basis points until December the 31st. Plus, this is a U.S.-focused strategy, and they use currency hedging, offering the potential for pure performance and exposure. So if you're a tactical, sophisticated trader looking to amplify your performance, please check it out at betapro.ca/3xdaily to learn more. We want to thank them again for supporting the show. But oh boy, man, now we're starting to do it. Let's fire off those hot dog cannons right now because there it is, man. It's AMD. It's now $1. Look, we were long, then we were short. So let's go now, AMD. We're flat on the day because we take the L on the long. We make it back on the short. So right now, flat on AMD with obviously holding half of this position still. So maybe we can get a much bigger move. And I was actually just zooming this back out to try to find it. My next bid is at 255.55, right into here. Just thought that maybe we hold this area if we do come down. So here it is. Right now, we are now $1.80. We are now $2 now in the money and hella green now. $2 in the money on this AMD short. Look, man, like we said, have the ability, flip it up. We have ISM manufacturing PMI coming in. And now where do we go, man? What about a 254 long for AMD? I don't know. If I like the long, maybe I should get out of a little bit of this. There it is. I'm going to put a bid right there at 25 or 26. There it is, man. If you joined me last week, you saw me do it then. You're joining this week, you're seeing me do it again right now. Neil's got IBIT, I've got AMD. AMD now 250 in the money, Neil. This name's starting to go lower, and it's a big one. Oh boy, says Obi. We are now well up on the day, and there goes AMD, one trade. Thank you so much, Rob. Rob, I did not see what you put in the options, but these, if you do not mind, if you want to take it back, for you or just for the whole office.
There's another box that you can put in the kitchen.
Well, we want to thank one of our viewers brought this in. So, Rob, yes, and it's for you as well. It's for everybody. Rob was working on this whole back wall this whole time and everything around here. So thank you, Rob, for all that work. And thank you to our viewers for that. And cheers, Rob. Thank you for, cheers, Neil, for the coffee. Oh, man, he gave it to the wrong one. Are you long or short? Okay, we're both short, so good. So
well, I was long VWAP on Amazon, but the sellers came in heavy, scalped out of it, and the sellers came in heavy through the even dollar. I was watching tape pretty clean. It popped up to $0.50 almost instantly when I was able to grab it, but then you could see them start to stack. It lost VWAP almost immediately there. Let me put this coffee down because I didn't sip any. And then lost VWAP immediately. It's holding a higher low at 55, so there's at least that maybe we can sink our teeth into, but at this point, I mean, the market just lost the volume weighted average price. So it looks like we're headed back in. Amazon's certainly strong off that note, but ultimately, this is not one that I want to sit here fighting to try to get above the volume weighted average price. We can trade it if and when it gets there. And same thing for Nvidia. The only difference with Nvidia is it didn't bounce off of VWAP when it got the chance. So Amazon did very briefly for a quick 50-cent scalp, but that didn't happen on Nvidia. What I'm looking at now is with the market coming back in. Tesla, this is now parabolic. It's 10 o'clock. There's a 0% chance. I'm not looking for a mean reversion here. It's up $470, up 3%. I don't recall hearing a story. We get deliveries at the beginning of the month on Tesla, always, but that's usually like a couple of days in. It's not like we got those Right, I'll have to go to it. The daily chart's going to show you there's not much up here except for the wick to 80. But with this kind of action on Tesla, I'm just looking for a topping tail through an obvious even dollar or a trend break. Very likely that we'll be talking about a topping tail candle. But Tesla, absolute rocket ship. I keep looking for story. I actually put it into Twitter. Maybe it's some social media stuff. And yes, price upgrades to me aren't big deals. I don't.
Adara
like that's
found,
not really
maybe
a story.
Adara found something.
Adara, do you have anything?
There's something on Tesla. It was actually on our morning watch list, our Trader TV Live watch list, which you can get for free. It comes into your email every day. Reuters reporting, citing a South Korean news agency, that the company has penned a $2 billion energy storage deal with Samsung. We know energy storage was a strong sector segment for Tesla in Q3. So energy storage related deal for TSLA. Only piece of news I saw, but maybe something worth noting, guys. Back to you.
Samsung deal.
Like soap.
You got a soapy cup, maybe, potentially, or the water on the coffee machine run incorrectly. All right, sorry about that. You can go get another one if you want at some point. There it is, man. Now we are now $3 in as this just keeps on. Honestly, man, I don't know. I'm waiting at 254.15. We talked about getting out some at 254 if it does come in. Our first take was 255.50, but look at this name. Just continue to bleed down. Guys, like, honestly, it's not... We can props ourselves up, but we do this every day here on the show. So great trade on Amazon, and then right now we have this huge trade on AMD, over $3 in the money. You know, we went long, realized that was not going to be the right play, hit the short, and there it is, right? Like, don't let your losers be quick and your winners be something like this, hopefully. Like, there we go. Like, we are in, we are out. We got out for profit on AMD, which is why it's not that bad. Then we tried the long again at 257. Once that broke, we got out. Then I was like, let's short it. We put on a small piece there. Pops up into an area where it just looked like it was potentially going to fade off of that 258 level, which was the 50-period moving average. We took a short. I'm actually waiting for more short. Didn't come in, so we didn't get our full load on this one, which is why we're only at our half-day goal right now. But we'll take that at 10 o'clock, considering that our first trade was a -1. So, so far so good there on that. And we're waiting for Palantir. I mean, I wrote down to try to be patient on this one, 202 as my #1 trade here for PLTR. So if we can get into 202, then great for that trade. And the reason why we like that, and again, this is a little bit more sketchy because this is normally where I'd go 201.50. So if we do get into 202, let's take a small little nibble around this area and then see if we can hold. Pretty much holding 200 is what we need to see for that 202, because going long 202, we can get $2 on that, and I think just on a small piece, probably worth trying to hold on just a bit for it. So we'll see if that's working out for us. But right now, $3 and change, and going lower is AMD. So we just get a 254 break there, and just to show you guys, and I know my chart has that bad wick there, but this has been the bottom for a couple days. So we just hit all of this move pretty much. So let's start to capture it, which we've done. We only have 30% left, but still not too bad of a play there for advanced micro devices. So finally hopping in. Wow, 470 already for Tesla. What a beast.
It just wicked that 471 the second time here and played back through 470. Tesla, again, I mean, battery storage, maybe not that big of a catalyst. Deliveries are going to be coming in the next couple of days for sure. Immediately buyer stepped in at the first even dollar. You have to consider as well, is this going to show? Yeah, 466 is like the prior high. So you're pulling back into prior high only about $3 or $4 from this 470 level, which makes it a bit of a different reversion trade. I don't think it gets to the volume weighted average price at all. I'm targeting the first buck and then the 46. If it breaks 71, I'm jumping out of it altogether. Amazon just lost VWAP, so I guess that's not going to be a thing, at least for now, on Amazon. So Tesla at that 470. If it takes out the high at 71, there it is, I'm jumping out of it. I should have scalped the buck the first time through, but gonna take this shot and probably at least two more, I think. If I can see something at 75 or maybe a cleaner trend break, this is the one that's got so much room to rally. Well, rally, I guess revert is gonna be the way to think about it. To revert is the way I gotta think about it. Nvidia, I would love to go back to the well, but it's now downward trending. So there's your high, got out on the lower high of Nvidia, and now we've got a downtrend going on. So unless you're waiting for the pre-market low. This needs to break trend for me. I don't get back into Nvidia unless it's an obvious support level or break this little downward trend above VWAP. Then I can jump back into it. Now, if you're bullish on the stock, it doesn't mean that you're going to go long just because you say you want to go long doesn't mean you have to go long. And it's the same thing with Amazon. They could try to bounce VWAP. There's the fade. Not going to fight this one. If I get into this again, it won't be the same as Nvidia because it doesn't have a clean downward trend to revert. I'll just wait for VWAP or something like it. And the bell of the ball, tonight at least, is to be Palantir. Palantir, very clean downtrend as well. So unless you're looking on the south side, not really sure you're going to find much of anything for those ones on the long. So Tesla is on my mind. Silver still has a chance at a breakout, but it's not really moving that much. When the market's down, I would suspect that it can get into some strength. It hasn't broken the high. It hasn't retested VWAP, so neither one of those things. I feel like it's going to be a second shot at Tesla. That's the next trade for me.
Yeah, I mean, go where there's some action here, and I think that you nailed it there because we had written down for our talk here today was AMD long, and it broke 258, so we flipped over to the short, and now it's the only trade that I have, and we've almost hit our spot. The Dow is now turned negative right now, so let's go check over this is happening. This looks like it wants to break. I mean, I'm almost thinking about going short everything right now. We have less than 1 minute before ISM manufacturing employment or manufacturing comes out, so we'll check out for that number. And what we're looking for on ISM today, and I'll just go review the notes here to see exactly what levels we're talking about for ISM. I put it down in the tweet. We do have it on market research from Adara's website as well. There it is, ISM manufacturing PMI 49. So 49.4 versus 49.1. So we'll talk about that as that starts to come through and starts to hit for us. Again, the ISM manufacturing PMI coming right now at 10 o'clock in just a matter of 30 seconds. So be careful and watch out for that. But all right, man, like I said, we made half of our day here. Let's see if we can get it all on this AMD move lower. We just got some more out there at 254. All right, with only 30 seconds to go, let's go over to Dara, get some stories and hear about this ISM number.
15 seconds here until we get ISM manufacturing PMI, 49.5 forecast, 49.1 previous. We just got the S&P manufacturing PMI at 945, slightly higher than estimates. But again, the ISM is going to be the more closely watched number that we're getting now in 1 second. Let's see what ends up populating here. ISM manufacturing PMI coming in 48.7, so a little bit lower here it looks like than that forecast of 49.5 and the previous print of 49.1. Again, I'm seeing a lower than expected 48.7 print for the ISM manufacturing PMI. Some Fed speak later today. Fed's daily at 12 p.m., Fed's cook at 2 p.m. Here is the Nasdaq, just near day's lows, but again, certainly we gapped up today, and a lot of that is because we had some positive data center related catalysts. Amazon, one of these names I'd watch with that in mind with regards to these deals, Amazon and OpenAI, or specifically AWS and OpenAI, with a $38 billion partnership. So good look there for AMZN. We know Nvidia and MSFT are also on watch as Financial Times reports that Microsoft is going to be able to use some Nvidia chips in the UAE, apparently getting U.S. government approval for that. Palantir, absolutely on watch today and this whole week. We know Palantir had a really strong performance last week as well, and they actually have their Q3 earnings after the bell at 4:05 p.m. Eastern, along with HIMS, Hims and Hers, and Navitas and BTS. Tons of names reporting later this week as well, including Robinhood, AppLovin, Open Door. We're going to get DraftKings, tons of names throughout the week, so certainly keep an eye on all these earnings, and for all the post-market earnings, always join our post-market show starting at 4 p.m. Before we send you back to the guys, let's take a moment to thank our friends at Origenics. Each year, 3.8 million concussions are reported in the U.S., but there's still no FDA-approved treatment. NYSE listed Origenics as changing that with its first-in-class intranasal drug designed for rapid brain access. With the concussion treatment market projected to reach $8.9 billion by the year 2027, Origenics is uniquely positioned to lead the way. Learn more and schedule a meeting today. OGEN, Origenics on the Nasdaq or NYSE. Back to you.
That's right. Thank you, Adara. Shout out to Origenics. Ooh, when we talk about some football, we'll talk about why you should not leave your players in to the Wolves when you are down a boatload. I hate to be Washington right now.
Oh, Jaden Daniels, yeah, I didn't see
I
the
woke up
highlights.
to that because I was like, I didn't even bother staying up.
I saw Mariota in, and I wasn't even sure if he was in because they were getting killed, because it was like 20. I turned that game off. It was 28.
It doesn't even make any
28-7 or something.
It doesn't even make
like that. But when you, yeah, but that's what happens. I mean, you draft these mobile quarterbacks, and unfortunately, this is a crazy league, man. There's so many injuries happening all the time. It's like I'm
more sad because I think my fantasy season is getting punked, and I thought
it's nice to have Brock Bowers back finally. I had to go without him for 6 weeks.
Kraft was the best. I don't know.
He was a great tight end. But
that guy is
now TE1 has returned to finally.
No, Green Bay, that's a big hit for them.
Oh yeah. But we have other guys. I mean, we have Musgrave. We have 2 other tight ends. We'll be fine, but that is a big hit for them for sure. AMD might be finding a base. I'm fine with that because we did cash out on that ISM number. I mean, it came back in and hit 254. We got that twice, man. We actually got 254. Oh no, we didn't get that. I put a bid at 2. Oh no, we did. I thought we got 253.80 there on AMD. Did I not get that? 250. No, my best one is 254.07s. No, 254.02s is, but doesn't matter. Anyways, those are those 2 outs right there. So we got a couple outs right there now. Now we only have 15% left of this trade on advanced micro devices. So really the only one that I was looking at right now. I'm also looking at Boeing. Boeing bouncing nicely. We did buy some Boeing in the long-term portfolio last week. Talked a little bit about that off of this 200 right here. 203 is where we bought some of that. So I like Boeing here for the long term. Let's see if it comes in. Obviously, no dividend on Boeing. That hasn't been like that since COVID. All right, so Palantir, just bouncing off 203. We wrote down 202. So I'm going to have to wait to see if we can be a little bit patient in that one. IREN was a runner earlier on. There was a lot of traders looking at that, and IREN, unfortunately, not doing anything.
It's waking up a little bit.
We're trying to wake up a bit. And then SMR, same kind of way, man. I was looking for the longs there in SMR up near the top, and that just didn't come through at all. All right, man, the market's now catching a bid. I mean, there goes AMD right back up to the upside. We'll look to reshort it, but not until this 57.50 area. I'm just going to let this continue to sort of float around a little bit. We only have that 15% left. Let's look for more positions. And it's too bad because the futures almost got in. We wrote down 118. We could have taken that shot right there. Again, the TQ is written down as 118. We could have actually, we had talked about it's not on here, but 118 for them would be a level. Let's see if that winds up holding. So far, it does. And I do want to reload that AMD short. Maybe it's Apple, or sorry, it's iBit. You were in iBit, but Tesla looks like it's, wow, Tesla's 472 now, wow.
And Tesla bounced. Tesla caught a bid. It broke trend at 72 and then caught a bid at 70 in there. So there's I actually moved to a 1-minute chart. Sometimes you have to make the adjustment. Like if they're starting you with a first pitch slider in the dirt every single time, then maybe you should look for it as the first pitch Dalton Varsho. But I was using a 3-minute chart, and I didn't really have a good entry on what I thought was a trend break. I moved it to a 1-minute, a little bit more clean, and so that did give me the entry at 472. I actually added on the way down because I couldn't really get filled above 72 there. I was able to get 70s out, reloaded it here in front of 72, and it's giving me every reason. I got some 71s there, like it's just giving you $1.50 scalp trade. But I'm starting to think this is not trending. Like when it breaks trend, you want it to work right away. The market's now retaking those lows. This is acting as if it wants to retrace the highs. Like there's your trend break. This would be a 3rd green candle in a row. If it does that, then I probably need to jump out of it. Oh, I have this NVIDIA chart up just to show you I'm still willing to not reverse, but go back into a long in NVIDIA if it can break out this trend line. But it's still trending downside in NVIDIA. The market is still trending to the downside. I'll keep my eye on, obviously, I still have my eye on that Tesla on another level 2. Amazon has basically stopped moving. So, like, I mean, Amazon has a great story and a catalyst here. It's basically stopped moving at 255 and just going sideways, which is good because the market's going down. So going sideways would be a positive thing, but not a heck of a lot of action in Amazon when I expected it. So just Tesla, I need to see if it could bounce off that 470. If it shows the same kind of bid, which it's doing, then I might just take this one out and look for a better entry here, or just reload it at 72. But it's the second time that the spike has been violent off the 470 level in Tesla. They're looking forward to those deliveries, that's for sure.
Yeah, Goolsbee right here, just talking again, and we'll get
There's a Halloween
updates.
joke in there somewhere.
Oh yeah, good one. Yeah, the Ghoulie one over there. Speaking, we're gonna get it from Madeira. So as soon as that hits, we'll get some talk about what Goolsbee's talking about. threshold for cutting rates is higher than the last two Fed meetings, apparently. So I guess he's trying to throw some cold water, basically, on the fact that it's going to be tougher to vote cut, I guess, at the next meeting based on some of the data that they have. He's talking about inflation being pretty comfortable where we're at right now. Obviously, we don't know too much about the jobs situation right now until we get some numbers out of the government. So we're going to have to just sort of hope that, and again, we brought this number to you guys earlier. Make sure you guys do hit the like and the subscribe button. But there it is, 66% right now. I'm going to refresh. So same, 68, nothing happened. Yeah, he's worried about inflation, but it's more the job market risks, what I'm hearing right now from Goolsbee. So I'm still going to take this long. I just put a bid down there at just breaking through 118. So I'm at 117.86 I don't know really why I chose that level, but right in here into the 80s. I want to give this a shot to see if we can get a break of 118. This is why we like that 118 into there. So we'll see if we can get a little bit of a break and then see about holding some lower levels. But right now we're short, man, on AMD. It's been a good trade, and so far so good. And here's the level right there. So there's 117.80 right now, looking to see if we break 117.50, and then we can get out. But right now, looking for a little bit of a long now in there, looking to reload the short if we get to 257 on AMD. So, yeah. So far, we'll get it figured out. And yeah, Adam, Mark there, Mark Susi in the chat. Yeah, we don't know any numbers, right? I mean, until we actually get a real number from the government, it's just these Fed guys talking about what their opinion is, right? So let's go back over to Adara, and we'll get that figured out.
Yeah, just a reminder here that we are getting some of this in commentary from Fed's Goolsbee. I was not initially seeing him on the calendar, but sometimes these Feds will make appearances, interviewed appearances that aren't necessarily going to be on the calendar. And he is, like a lot of these Feds that we had on Friday, being a little bit more hawkish, saying that there are still some concerns about the job market and that rates should come down alongside inflation, but that he is finding inflation data to be a bit worrisome. He also said the threshold for cutting rates at this meeting was a little bit higher than it was at the last two meetings. So that is another interesting point here from Fed's Goolsbee. Back to you.
Thank you very much there, Dara. That the buyer at 470 was real again, so I punched right out. I said if it held this level,
there we go,
I would jump out of the trade and maybe look for another entry. I'm not so sure this is going to be the one. There's no need to fight Tesla. The term I like to use is if you get away with one, it couldn't get to VWAP, it's still incredibly strong, wait for a different type of setup or maybe move on to the next trade. So Tesla, it worked for the trend reversal, but it didn't follow all the way through to the volume weighted average price. Speaking of trend reversals, here is Nvidia. It's under VWAP, so this would be like a B, not an A, but it did break this. It's interesting. VWAP's a little different on this chart. But it did break the trend line, but it hasn't closed above the volume weighted average price. So it's pretty close. Probably going to wait for this to hold a little bit better on this 3-minute candle on the trend break and then try to jump back into that one to the long side. You also might see me, look, can view the deal, but it's mostly stock, not cash. So just understand that it can actually move. It's not going to only go sideways like a normal buyout. But if I were to see it spike up, I kind of want to revert this if I see it bounce. You might see me pop into that, but that's only if it pops into these highs. I might take some kind of a shot at it. It's Nvidia or Tesla that are all over my mind at this point. Nvidia looking a little bit better for this trend break to re-enter the long. Like it was a good long if you took out the break at open. It was a good long if you took VWAP the first time. Now we'll see if it can hold VWAP a second time on Nvidia. Of course, everyone making deals with Nvidia and they're getting all that money.
Crazy.
And it's all OpenAI's money. So I guess the circle, you know what, continues.
Thank you, OpenAI. All right, here's a nice move down for AMD. We are going to reload this one. So, okay, this is truly, what's up, Joe? He likes the reload spot as well. There we go for AMD. So it's a nice little reload there at the 50 period. I'm only giving it to VWAP of 257. If we break it, then we out of here, baby. I was going to say, unlike the Blue Jays couldn't hit anything out of here, but it's okay. We're okay with it. We are
best hitting
going to be back. We are going to be back. And
best hitting team in the playoffs.
Yeah, just unfortunately not in game 6s and game 7s.
No, it was only runners in scoring position.
Like
getting base runners wasn't the problem.
No, just getting the clutch, I think, is what we needed.
Word.
Yeah, the word clutch is
Clutch is the word. Also taking a regular lead off and getting a secondary lead.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? I mean, That's too bad.
My coaches would have lit. It's weird. My coaches would have lit into me if I did what he did.
Apparently, the coaches told him to do that. So I don't know. This is what the story is.
That's the thing. If the coaches told him not to get a good lead, that's on.
Well, they were nervous about Barger because of what he did the night before. They didn't want to get some sort of a mistake. Sure.
In order to get doubled off, the line drive would have had to be right to the third baseman. In Barshow's entire career, which is probably 5 or 6 years, he has hit one hard line drive directly at the third baseman.
That's
one time in 5 or 6 years, and that's why our guy wasn't taking a lead. If he takes a regular lead, he's safe by like 3
it's not even close.
It's not even close.
It was too close to.
But it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
At the end of the day, you know what? Yamamoto was ridiculous.
Yeah, you can't beat.
At the end of the day,
he was unhittable there near the end. So
that dude is Sometimes you really tip your cap. That's one of. I actually feel pride in getting to see something that special. Like you see the best player on the planet in Shohei, and I can't remember the last time I saw a pitcher look that good since I don't even know.
I don't even know. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of it, but I actually can't.
Yeah, we were at game 2, and we loved every minute of it, but it was a tough one, obviously. When you get so close, that's more the thing. It's not like we were so happy with the performance of the team, but at the end of the day, you always want to get there and finally just put that nail in, right? And that wasn't able to happen. But next year, I think a lot of us are pretty pleased with the trajectory of the Blue Jays. Anyways, they got there real quick, and Savage is a savage, so we'll see if he can do some of that next year as well. Yeah, with his little bit of a funny arm release, right? So okay. So just real quickly here, let's just have a quick look at everything. We are loaded up again. We are we're at the highest spot we've been at all day right now, net-wise, because we got this reload in our good friend so far, AMD today. We only have that one trade on, and there it comes. Bring it back down in there. Okay, we're almost at our daily goal right now as this move continues to make some money downside. Let's just cover a little bit here because this again could go way against us at any time, and looks like it may want to edge higher right now. But my stop on this one's 257, but we just did get a good little reload up there near the 80s, so that's helping us bring this to the downside. Let's let our winners just sort of fester just a little bit right now and go over here. A nice win. I forget what the news was on Eli Lilly, Adara, but there was something with one. Okay, so she's going to look it up. Okay, thank you, Adara. Some sort of a manufacturing deal there with Eli Lilly. Should look that up because right now in the healthcare, wow, Neil, we are now 2 times daily goal right now. AMD just cranked a lot lower right there. And my net just lit up, so sorry about that. Sometimes I get a little bit too carried away here. As there it comes, right now to the downside, we are now finally starting to go. Here we go, man, into the gates of hell. We are now $1 on this reload. And oh boy, did we put some shares on board now. As there goes AMD to the downside. I'm going to have to start to cover a little bit now. It's Advanced Micro Devices, and there she goes. Nice move back into the downside there. So, oh yeah, there it is, man. It took us a minute, but we nailed it. We reloaded AMD. We nailed that trade. Yes, that's $1 right there. So, oh boy, here we go. Nice move to the downside. Yeah, I'm doing the reverse Drake today. See, he jinxed us. So right now, the fact that we're up today, I'm trying to get rid of that. I'm trying to get rid of that.
Why? What did he do?
Oh, every time he bets on somebody or votes for or has an opinion one way, it always goes the other way.
I didn't know that.
So he was at the Blue Jays game both days, game 6s and game 7, and they lost. Of course, I was only at game 2. So, all right, so it's a nice move down for AMD. What's up, Adara?
News here on Lilly. Eli Lilly, as I mentioned here, manufacturing, construction, they are planning to construct a $3 billion production site in the Netherlands. They announced that this morning. So manufacturing facility for Eli Lilly, LLY. That stock had a nice move up this morning. They're also day 3 earnings. They reported earnings on Thursday before the bell. Back to you.
All right, so
thank you very much, Adara.
Thank you very much, Adara. Here, I have that. Here you go.
Okay.
Thanks, Adara.
Thank you very much, Adara.
Again. Kenview just broke VWAP. Whatever. Kenview broke VWAP. You might see me in this one a little bit. And give me. Yeah, KVUE. It's cash and stock. If anyone's interested in the terms, I'll go over it a little bit later. But I just shorted the volume weighted average price there. It's it's actually got some room to the low. So this might have a little momentum to it. But I'll be scalping out much before it gets to a 16.3 or anything like that. I'm not trying to hit that big of a home run. Nvidia just tried to hold on to VWAP. If it breaks prior bar, that's my rule. If I go long and you lose the prior bar on a trend break, I jump out of it, no questions asked. So my stop is in. And if it breaks, it's like 207.40 something, I'll be jumping out of that bad boy. Amazon doesn't seem to want to hold on, but Nvidia was the one that was next for me. If it wasn't going to be a reload into Tesla short, it just never really gave a clean setup off that 47 or 472, I should say, kind of shot down. So I missed the 72 entry and didn't want to chase it at 71. So might have missed that second chance or third chance, I would say, in that Tesla short. And it's really just about, can Nvidia hold on? The other thing to watch, silver, which I liked. There's a bad wick on silver, all the way down to 41. Silver's not trading to that price. Silver broke VWAP, so no breakout of the high of the day. If it doesn't break out the high, then it doesn't really have much of anything going for me. So we're right back in. Really only traded just IBIT, Amazon, Nvidia, and Tesla. Had my sights set on silver, but it's not high-ho silver today. It's downward market is pretty much all we're getting, right? Looks like Nvidia is going to end up holding VWAP. If we close this, there we go. We just closed the candle above the volume-weighted average price. We'll try to add some here. One of the few things that's actually holding some strength is Nvidia. And while it was Meta, trust me, 5 minutes ago, Meta was at the high of the day. Even Meta losing VWAP after showing tons of strength this morning. So Nvidia back about 40 pennies in the money there after holding VWAP. Let's see if it can finally break out 209.
Yeah, let's see if we can finally get some more likes here, guys. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. With over 9,200 of you watching right now. Oh, it's a 1,000 likes. We'll take that for right now. So hit the like and the subscribe. If you're part of it, you can get into the chat, which we're talking about right now. Ooh, Erie Pages is currently in the D.C. area. Oh, that's nice. I hope you're having a good time there. I don't know if the National Guard is in D.C. anymore, but
wait, what?
No, I don't know. I think they're in Portland lately, or Chicago. I don't know where that National Guard is, which say shout out to you, Erie Pages. I hope everybody's having a great time as you guys travel around. All right, so just getting some more outs here. AMD looks like it doesn't want to do too much other than just kind of whatever right here. My out was always going to be 257, so it still is. We actually out of half right now of our reload, and I'm actually getting a little anxious. I'm going to punch out some more there at 85, and now just sit on the bid. I do have some lower bids. I'm bidding 70s, and I'm bidding 30s, and then we'll see if we can get back into some of these levels where we were already today, back down into 254. So I'm bidding 255.30 right into here, and then we'll see if we can drop down on advanced micro devices, and of course, making sure that we capture some of the profit here. As the day has been pretty choppy, needless to say, what I was in the middle of doing before the P&L sort of started to go offside or upside there, but I had to deal with it, was looking at, and if I could find it right here, what's been hot or not. We did have that Eli Lilly move today as well. This is just a little bit of a look. IDXX, we can have a look there. If that's a buy, that's not a buyout. No. All right, Tesla up 2.5. Neil's been obviously all over that name there today, so we can talk about that. Amazon with their new deal with OpenAI, not really a deal, but just they're going to use some Amazon Web Services and whatnot, just their computing power, sorry. So that's a big one. Walmart to the downside. Waymo is coming to 3 new cities. We just heard from The Verge reporting, so we instantly hear Waymo. We instantly know that's Google, so we can come over and have a quick check there. And with Waymo going, San Diego, Las Vegas, Detroit. So shout out to Detroit right there as it's coming to a city near you. San Diego, Las Vegas, and Detroit, I'm hearing for Waymo right now. So that's going to be a little bit of pressure, obviously, there on Tesla, as you want to be the first to market in these areas. And it looks like Waymo and Google trying to make some moves there as well. That could also be affecting a little bit of Uber possibly, but not really. I don't think Uber is a huge story with all of this until it actually starts to happen and we see the real impact there. But okay, we do have a super chat. We can go over that. And by the way, now we're really getting cooking. Before we go to Adara, this is now $1.58 in the, this is a big trade for me. We're now at almost 2.5 times our daily goal, and it's just trading one name, Advanced Micro Devices. Somebody just texted me. All right, what's up, Adara?
We're going to get into small caps. I want to mention as well here, though, with regards to the Waymo news. I looked this up because Waymo usually announces this stuff themselves, and this story is a couple hours old, so just be aware. The Verge looks like it's recycling an older story about Waymo expanding into Detroit and Las Vegas. I want to talk here now about these small caps, including NUAI. This is a frequent small cap runner, New Era Energy. Most recent story I have on this is from Thursday. They're announcing, I guess they've selected some EYP mission critical facilities for its critical data centers here in Texas. Nothing new since Thursday, though, for NUAI, but as I mentioned, this is a ticker that is often on watch and has traded in the past. Now we have MSPR heading for its pre-market high. This is actually a penny stock trading around 87, 88 cents right now. MSPR, MSP recovery, much like NUAI, has rallied in the past. No news on this one, but as of this rally, looks like we have about a $1 million market cap. 660,000 shares, a very small float, and about 25% of that float is sold short, so decent short float percentage there. Last but not least, TERN, Terns Pharmaceuticals, this one announcing some positive data for one of its treatments here. They're going to be presenting at this ASH event in 2025. So TERN teasing some treatment data, apparently this presentation coming up here as well. Before we send you back to the guys, we'll take a moment to thank our friends at Trade the Pool. For too long, trading meant risking your own money or never having enough to start. The fear of losing. That's what kept so many traders on the sidelines. But that's changing. Trade the Pool is transforming how traders access the markets. With its limited risk trading model, traders use funded capital while Trade the Pool absorbs the downside. This allows traders to focus on what truly matters: discipline, consistency, and growth. When you hit the profit target, you keep 70% of the profits. No fear, no barriers, just real opportunity. This is the revolution of limited risk trading, powered by Trade the Pool. Visit tradethepool.com or scan the QR code now to get 10% off your first evaluation. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adair, and thank you to Caleb. We put the super chat up. I'll throw it up there again because we didn't get a chance to address it. Caught 160 points in NQ Futures. Love you guys. Thank you, Caleb. Appreciate it. And there was a second one, Ben Weiss. I have not looked at it, so I didn't know that this was true. But I had already reloaded at 1069 anyways on Webull. So bull is at 1050, no bull. 1044, the current low as it continues to go down. And I saw someone also in the chat mention that UNH was tanking. This might be the most technical, I don't think I have ever, well, that's probably not true, but I can't remember the last time I saw a stock on a daily chart move so cleanly off a major moving average. This would be like the cleanest turn I've seen in a long time at that 200 period moving average. Sometimes that's why you like those for exits or entries. It's going to close underneath the 50 period moving average. So I took a couple of legs out. The second one was in front of the 200 period moving average, but my swing is done on this stock. Unless it does something crazy, a close below the 50 period moving average was my out, so I'm sticking to it. That's just how it's going to be. Got to be able to respect that. Like, it is what it is. Like, trading it off the 50 before, the 50 into the 200 period moving average, it loses the 50, I get out. Simple as that. Speaking of losing the 50, I mean, Nvidia, it's not the 50 period moving average, but it's VWAP. If we close under VWAP again, you know what I don't love? This is not going. It just refuses to break this $0.50 for the second time. And I have twice not taken it out, sort of ignoring this. If we lose VWAP, I'm going to jump out of this. I don't think I'm going to give it to the prior bar anymore. Just the market is relatively weak. So I'm just going to move my stop. I'll give it one more chance for a reload off the volume weighted average price. But it's showing a lot of weakness in front of this 208.5 zone, which I think I should take. And then speaking of VWAP, I did say you will see me in Kenview. I didn't say you will see me in Kenview. I said you might see me in Kenview. Sorry about those wicks. It's just a matter of once I saw it respecting VWAP on the other side, I just said, okay, dumped at the open, rounding it in. I think you'll see some profit taking here. Market's going down, and it's not all a cash deal, right? So therefore, if the market's going down, the acquirer can move to the downside, and Kenview moves to the downside. And it was underneath VWAP, so like all the standard VWAP short stuff applies. And you know, taking it, I said I'd take it all out before it even got to the low. 16.5 is target. It just got to 16.6. So it's more of a scalp trade that you might see me in from time to time. But really, it's just about Nvidia, Tesla, and well, I'm not going to get back in Amazon, I don't think, at this rate. Chris, Twins fan. Ooh. Thank you for Louis Varland, but also for IKF. And this was the best World Series I can remember in many years. Bummed about the outcome. You know what? I considered it. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. My daughter had an unreal time. It was the best World Series.
Yeah, there's so many storylines.
So many storylines, so many great performances, tons of excitement. Yeah, not much else you can say. Day trader.
Yeah, right.
Sean sent me your address for some Dodgers merch, bro. Yeah, send it to Sean.
I already told him, man.
Send it to
it's
Sean.
already, our address is public knowledge, man.
Yeah, don't send it, as long as you don't send
I'll
it to
sport
me.
some Dodgers merch. I don't care. Throw that through, my guy. That is for sure. Thank you, Day Trader LA. That's from a long time ago. That super chat. That's probably from an hour ago.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, definitely send that through.
Yeah, I must have missed
All right, look, man. We tried our take here on the TQs. This is what happens when you're wrong. You get in and you get the hell out. So there it is, man. We tried the one. We got long at 117.85. We got out on a break of 75. So 10 cents there, flushing down the toilet. But I look over and I have no LFT. Why is that? Because the market is tanking and we are short AMD. And right now that is now $2 on the reload. So we'll hit the sirens up for that one. Highest spot we've been at all day right now on our P&L, just because, again, watching out, being very specific on what we're doing, taking the right trades, calming down, just sitting here and, being the trader that, we think we are. And that is, one that can calm down, read charts, and make good plays. And honestly, we were long AMD at the first, and we flipped it over to the short, right? As soon as this market started bleeding away. And before, maybe I'd be hammering into this and being very, very stubborn, saying, how low can we go here on the TQs? But the Nasdaq is still up. Let's not be stubborn with this. If it wants to fall back in even more, we will let that exactly happen and then look to pick something up if it can come into this area. Like once we break below and we keep on doing stuff like this, there is no point to me to say this maybe is the bottom. Like I gotta find something, wait for either a capitulation candle, which would be a dramatic move down, which we haven't even had yet, a volume spike, which we don't really have. We're getting one right now, but that's a lot of people got either stopped out where I did or they played that 118. So that's why there's a little bit of volume there. But honestly, man, when that Spidey, and I think Joe talked about this last week, like when that Spidey sense starts to go off and you get a feeling that, hey, maybe there's something up here with the direction in this game, you flip it up. So we saw AMD, we flipped it up. Nice, huge downside play there. Webull, I just want to know if there's anything at $10, because right now you're down to 1030 on Bull, down 4% and in a straight line pretty much over the last hour. Straight downside as soon as you broke that ledge there at 1060, it's straight down. And it's not like it's that dramatic because we're looking at $300 names everywhere else, but this is only a $10 name. So down 4%, obviously kicking out a little bit. Webull has been an absolutely disgusting chart, man, all the way back down into these lows again. If Webull's going to stop anywhere, it should stop right about now, 1040, 1050. So I'll buy some more down here as soon as we're done and get some more into Webull. But oh boy, man, this is a big one here. Just one trade today, and that is AMD and trying to find out where that wants to go. Remember, I do like some Boeing that we traded. We made a move on this one on Thursday or Friday. Bought some 203s right now. We'll have to check out if that's any good. And then Google maybe catches a bid. Again, like as the market falls back in, I want to buy strong names. We do know that Google's super strong. They had the greatest report last week out of all the Mag 7. And although Amazon, also a great report. And Amazon today, though, probably Amazon might have been, I guess, seen as the best report. I thought Google was firing on all cylinders. But then today, of course, Amazon gets that OpenAI news and rips up. Like, remember, Amazon was heading down off of their move as well from Friday. So they started off in and around this 254 area. We've already been there, right? And then right now, we started the day on Friday, 254, ended the day 245. So down $9. Today we start at 259. If we're gonna be down $9, maybe we'll rest around 250. Oh my gosh, we are now at day's low for advanced micro. Oh no, we're not. We're near day's low for advanced micro devices. I forgot we already got 254s. So let's see if we get a little bit lower here for AMD. It's 1030. And yeah, Bull is on people's minds.
Yeah, Bull, look, no Bull, it's a weak-looking stock right now, and it's just trying to catch a little bit of a bid, which I think you can be patient for it. I just want to remind everybody of something with Webull, because I was trying to clean up my Kenview chart, but the wicks keep coming back. When this bounced off $10 the last time, let's just say it broke 11 around the beginning of June, maybe the 3rd or the 4th, based on this chart. And it didn't break back and hold above 11 till like the end of the month. So it was almost a full calendar month that you spent down there. Almost a full calendar month. So patience is a virtue. I had sold some, so I wanted to make sure that I was starting to get back into what I sold. I'm not all in. I want to see it hold a little bit longer. All right, this is actually a little bit more than I would usually expect. Yeah, like I don't usually expect something like Kenview to drop like a couple of points here. but it is threatening to do so. So if it does get to, it's a $16 stock and it's a deal, so if it moves 30 cents, I should be getting way more out than I am. If it goes back to VWAP, I'll just short again at the volume weighted average price. You know, just to give an idea, this was giving you the consolidation as the market was consolidating. It's a cash and stock deal. If it was a pure cash deal, I probably would treat this differently. But because it can respect the market, then if the market bounces off 26,000, sorry, if the Nasdaq bounces off 26,000, correction everybody, which is the overnight low, then I want to jump out of this and look for the reload. So it's a weird one because a lot of times I'm looking for short somewhere and I'll find it in like Intel or I don't know, like a more traditional name. In this particular case, it happened to be a buyout that was at the right price at the right time and at the volume weighted average price. And here come the ARBs buying it up again. So I'll take a little bit more on the 60s. All out in front of 16.5 is the plan. And if you're still loving that Tesla, which is #1 on the livestock visualizer by quite a hefty margin, 3 times over SoFi and Meta's. Meta lost 650. So another day and a lack of a close holding that 650 level, not good for Meta. Tesla, probably the strongest of the names that I've seen. I mean, Amazon's pretty strong too. Both of them holding some higher lows, but Tesla above VWAP as opposed to below it. This has a chance to break back out and almost be a long. Like if I slap this trend line on it, I'll just draw it, Sharif. I won't slap it. That's poorly drawn, but it doesn't matter. You get the idea. I'm not thinking of going long off that because I didn't draw it very well. And I'd like to see it maybe trend a little closer to VWAP and then bounce. But that's what I'd be looking for there in Tesla, at least for the next opportunity. I think the next opportunity for me is going to be a long in Tesla, maybe not a short, if this market can catch some kind of a bid, just because of its relative strength. But Meta, this is not going to be the day that I buy Meta. I thought maybe I'd be buying this one on Monday. At least not yet. I want to see it hold 650 a little bit better. I'll probably think about it at lunch. If we're still above the low and bouncing, then I probably pick some up. It's the 3rd day. That was my plan. If it holds, as long as it can hold this low, but it's not looking like it's going to hold the low very well here.
No, be careful if you think the market's obviously heading to the downside. Meta will get clubbed, as they all probably will.
Report, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter what you think, to be honest with you, or I, or any of us, as the market, mother market, is all that matters, and what my wife says. So there's a couple people. But right here, SMR, you know, just to look at some of the, if we can zoom in here, Andre, if you can. These are just some of the stocks that I look at. We are peeling out of a little bit of AMD. Right there it is. So we got some more 80s, sorry, some 90s there on advanced micro devices. So thanks. So there it is, man. SMR down 8% today, right? That's bleeding. Like SMR is not a great look here today, man. So I don't know what exactly is going on with this stock, but there it goes, down 8%. Like we're pretty happy about talking about raising capital. Like, oh man, Roblox as well. Like that stock is getting kicked in the face right here today, down to 107. Yeah.
No news on SMR. Roblox, I'll look into it, but it's also earnings day 3.
Yeah, exactly. So, but Roblox is whoosh. Big move down again there today. Thanks to Derek for the quick look in on that one. It'd be interesting to see if you find anything other than that, but I don't think so. Yeah, okay, perfect. No news on Roblox, says Adara, so we will, you know, get off of that right now, but that's what that is. Marvell down 3. We'd seen Marvell make a move higher. But again, as the market bleeds, the market's going to turn red. We are really happy being short on AMD right now. Mara and Coinbase both hitting the skids as well. XYZ, which is blocked, that's down. Alibaba's getting into some levels that your boy might be picking up very, very soon for Alibaba. Stay tuned on that one. I like that play. Oracle, wow. I spoke to Adara about this one. I won't give you her opinion, but Oracle downside again, another 3%. So good work by Adara on that one. We sold this at 319. Like to be in some of these for a long time is bad, but we did good on that one. Intel down 2.5 as well. Let's go to the other extreme right now. You got Amazon. Amazon will fall the rest of the day. I promise you that. 255 and change. Watch out for Micron. 4% up. So that's been a really good day considering what this market is doing, because the market's about to turn red. So it's a little bit of a panic moment here, I feel like, for the market to see if it can hold on ahead of another big week of earnings, man. And there's really no one to come save this market anymore because we already know what the Fed's plans are. There's Tesla right now. Good day for Tesla, up 2%, was up 4%. We've been covering Nvidia pretty good. I bought some Boeing last week, trying to diversify that old portfolio a bit. SMH, Google still upside. So it looks like the real winners today, Microsoft, and they're not huge winners, they're only up 0.2, but it's Microsoft, it's a little bit of Starbucks off earnings last week. Palantir Palantir's right at 202, which is a level that I was like, we should think about buying.
Micron stands out.
Yeah, Micron stands out like a sore thumb for sure. And then Nvidia and Amazon, as we know, thanks there, Andre, as we know that there's some big movements happening in Amazon's world today. But maybe some Palantir down here. Maybe it's a little low. We put down 202. Let's try some Palantir.
Yeah, just give me a second. That last spike down on the futures decided to crash all of my charts at the same time. So I'm literally loading them back up as we speak. But there was, okay, well, that's good timing. One of the ones that came up, I'll just talk about the ES at that spike to the bottom, because it looks like we're making a bit of a bottoming tail from Friday's lows. I look over, one more leg out, I'll get a kin view. And it looks like we're maybe making a little bit of a bottom. It was Tesla that I wanted. Okay, that chart just loaded back up for me, so I can show you that chart on Tesla. Tesla did break this trend. So there's your trend break back into the volume weighted average price. It almost floated higher, like floated. Bounced off VWAP. This is a $2 move, and then the trend breaks. That's a tricky one to try to follow. I'll see if I can get maybe a dip into the 469, but that was a violent trend break. The other place that I might take myself to is, come on, is that chart going to be up? Nvidia right now. This is my 15 minutes, so I'll have to work off of that. Nvidia, on the 15, you can really start to see support building in. And this is the only place I've been going long, is effectively long in front of the prior 2 days highs. Right, so going Thursday and Friday, it's been holding that line. Again, still a little bit of a downward trend since the open, but as long as this 15-minute bar closes strong above 207.5, then I think I'm reloading over there in Nvidia. Like, there's nothing about it that doesn't say it's not at support at this particular moment. So pretty strong one. Even Meta is bouncing. Okay, I think this could be the, maybe I do buy Meta today. I was just saying Meta didn't look like it was going to hold the low. Meta's held the low. I think I buy this one at 11 something once we get off the air. And it's just something we do here. Like, I could pull out my phone and log into my personal account and buy Meta, but that's not how we roll. Somebody just mentioned Intel. I'm literally live fixing some of these charts. This one I need to put over here. That's much better. And I can go to my 3-minute. Someone just mentioned Intel. These are the kind of setups I'm looking for. This is a trend break literally happening right now. There's your close above the trend bar. So anything I draw, this is going to be the trend break bar, and that would be the out. I'm going to get into this one. If I wasn't able to get Tesla, you know I always search for these mean reversion trades, and one just set up there on Intel live. I don't even have to draw the trend line. You can literally eyeball that one. Let's get sector watch from Adara to see what is bouncing with this market.
Palantir.
I also looked into Roblox further. This was not on Benzinga, but I did some research here, and it looks like RBLX is potentially being linked to a violent incident in Malaysia involving 2 underage people. One 9-year-old injuring his brother in a dispute related to Roblox that happened on October 27th. The most recent update, though, is Roblox, as of this morning, apparently pledging to Malaysia or to one of their government ministries that they're going to be working here on better monitoring for the platform. So most recent update is Roblox is going to work with Malaysia. I don't have any more updates, though, on that case. And again, the linking to Roblox seems to be tentative right now, still early in the investigation. I just wanted to address that with RBLX. Let's talk here, though, about this sector board, which is very red. If you're looking for potential bounces, not a ton of areas to look at. We do have producer manufacturing, both LRCX and AMAT relatively strong. Eli Lilly, lone standout here in the health tech space. Consumer non-durables, though, very weak across the board. Health services, we were talking about UNH. That whole sector is really weak as well. Consumer services weak, communications weak, commercial services, process industries. And retail trade generally pretty red, but AMZN to the upside. That is likely because of Amazon Web Services' $38 billion deal with OpenAI. Tech services pretty weak as well, except for Google, and Palantir PLTR set to report earnings after the bell, so stay tuned. And electronic technology generally pretty weak here, except for Micron and Nvidia. So a lot of these Mag 7s or larger market cap names generally going to be the standout in each of these sectors. Other than that, though, pretty bleak look for these sectors today. Back to you.
Oh boy, we tried to hit this because, whoops, that's a fruit salad. We don't need that. But the sticky note today does give you Palantir down there at 202. So as Adara was doing it, We did it again there. So Palantir there just ripping to the high side. Right now, $1.40 now, Neil, in the money as that just continues to climb higher here. So we got another one on right there. We've made 2 trades today, man. And that was AMD. We got out there at VWAP. This is P&L 1 easy. And then Palantir right now, just there it goes. Like what we wrote down was 202. So there's Palantir right there, 202 long. What we have in our blotter right now is 202.25s, and it's at 203.70s, so 203.60s. So, you know, we're going to take another piece out, but there it is, man. We did it again. 2 for 2, pretty monstrous trades over here. So, yeah, that's what we're doing. We're being patient. We talked about a completely new style of trade. Try to find the best ones, hit them, and when you're wrong, quit them. And, you know, TQs. This was in and out. As soon as we're wrong, we're out immediately, right? So here it goes back in for PLTR. Now just absolutely skyrocketing there off of our level, and you know, glad that we waited for it. Always think you should put on more shares by the time the trade's over with, but we're really happy with this one. And then get out on our AMD, man. There it was. We get out on the VWAP break, and we'll do that 10 times out of 10, and that's a win. So we win on our last piece, and then obviously do that right there. So it's 2 times our goal on AMD, and then just waiting to top it all off here on PLTR. So I love to trade. What's up? Love to trade.
Yeah, it's great to see the month starting off as good as the last one was as well. I mean, so far so good with that big bounce in the overall market there. I still, my Nasdaq chart's back. Yeah, I mean, whatever. It's the same thing. The Nasdaq actually got back to green, whereas the ES is still going to be red. Oh, that's a turn. Punch out. Sorry. Kenview, that was a turn off the low of the day. You could see it like very clearly. There's a low from the open. Could see it just break there, so I punched out of it. Nvidia finally holding the volume weighted average price. So let's get back over there. There's your break on Nvidia. So lost VWAP before. We had it a couple times. It then broke out a little bit above the volume weighted average price. Just going to show you a little something here. Oops, that's not where I wanted to draw it. Just kind of give it from the lower high here, where we took it the first time off VWAP. So what I'm looking for now is a breakaway of this trend line. Why did I not get filled here? Should take the first quarter, because that's nonsense. The trend line downward sloping from VWAP, I should take the first quarter out. And if it breaks, it's almost like an add above that trend line break. So nice bounce off VWAP, at least for now, with the market though. Like this is an assist from the overall market catching the bottoming tail, but I think this can be an add above the trend line as long as it can close above. So Nvidia essentially just traded it at one spot. Pull back into prior day high. That simple. That's held the line, at least for now. But remember, the market's still technically downward trending. And these are lower highs that it's put in. So if it just continues to do this pattern, it would technically be a flat bottom break. So you got to be wary of this. And we've mentioned it a couple times without actually looking at it, that standing out like a sore thumb, percentage-wise, is Micron, but it's the same chart as Nvidia, effectively. It's held a breakout, a little bit downward sloping, chilling out at VWAP. And what did it bounce off of? Stop me if you've heard this before.
VWAP.
The prior day high. No, it's the dip. Like VWAP's great now, but the prior day high has been where a lot of these stocks that are still relatively strong are managing to hold. If you like support and resistance, it's one of the more simple things that you can look at. Certainly would have been nice if I had held Tesla for the same principle, because that short in Tesla went right to, not the prior day high, but last week's high. So it's 466, and now look at it. The strong Mag 7 name, or probably the strongest Mag 7 name today that isn't named Amazon, is going to be Tesla. Really wish we could have grabbed this trend break up, but as you can see, when it broke the trend, it was like $2 up instantly. And if you chase that move, your risk to reward is completely thrown out of whack. Like I'd be going long 470, I'd be stopping out at VWAP, and to the high of the day would be 1-to-1. It would need to get to the high of the day just to be a solid trade. So, try to keep it simple. If it doesn't work, you got to get the trend break here, not here. So either you're fast enough to get it there, or you don't trade it at all, at least for me.
And that's, we talked about it, man. That's what my trading is all about, man. The simplest of trades I'm trying to do. You were just talking about Tesla. I didn't want to talk about it, but you did. So, okay, let's go over to DraftKings, $30. So, all right, in what's been a pretty beat up name, man. I mean, It's too bad because the poly market really crushed some of these guys, and that should have been something that was easy enough to see there for DraftKings. Did we get their report already? Let me see if we got it left.
I don't think
They're coming out on Thursday. Okay, so DKNG. I feel like there's going to be a fine report. I think, remember, it was last quarter, so I feel like they're going to have a decent report coming in for DraftKings. If we look at their calendar, though, we can see what their last earnings look like. And a nice revenue increase, right? 37% last time. We're going to figure this out if they come out with November the 6th, so after market there on Thursday for DraftKings. Obviously looking for an EPS red right there, so that's exciting. I don't know why that is. Minus 38 cents after just putting up 12 positive. So they finally just had 2 quarters in a row of positive EPS growth, and now the street is expecting minus 38 cents. I don't think minus 38 cents happens. I think why can't they have another positive quarter? So I'm not sure what exactly is going on there with the expectations there for DraftKings. Maybe some more work needed. But if you do look at what the movement's been for DKNG, it's been an oh boy kind of a stock as we were at not all-time highs, but again, at recent highs going back to last April, and we hit it again in this September. So I guess from the spring of 24 to the fall, we basically round-tripped, and now we're round-tripping again all the way back in. So unless you're on some of that MyMed stuff, you might be tripping out. But right now, DraftKings is definitely making that move back into $30 and looking to see if we can hold 26. I think ahead of earnings, it is a little sketchy to think about stepping into something like a DKNG right now. Let's see if it can hold this 26, 27 area. But DraftKings on the way down, and honestly does not look great. They did buy Railbird, I think it was, and that's a predictive marketplace as well. But we had
Kalshi's crushing it, man.
Yeah, we had ICE here in Continental Exchange, and they're talking about their push into poly market. We know that was $1 billion, $5 billion push for them, or 15 billion, something like that, into poly market. So you got to watch out, man, for DraftKings. I would not try to catch this falling knife. Wait for earnings and see what we can do. But 26 is a great level for DKNG.
No question about that. Maybe their troubles are because Chauncey's in jail.
Maybe, yeah.
They lost some big.
They lost some business there, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. No, I'm obviously just kidding. Look, Nvidia said it can work both ways. Remember, we took some out in front of the trend line. It's like scalp it to the trend line. But if it can't hold, it's still a downward trending stock. You got to be able to jump out of it when it's wrong. The other thing too is, like, if you think about it, it's like it's diminishing returns every time it's bought up at this level. The first move was like $2. I didn't have this one here because, look, you know what? It never looked good at the volume weighted average price. Never looked like a long. Then it gave you another long here. I only was able to take 30 pennies when it was really like 60. And then this last one maybe gave you 30, 40 cents at best. Or maybe like a quarter. But now you're breaking down. Doesn't look like it's going to be able to give the goods. Tesla's managing to hold up here.
At AMD.
At least. At that. Man, Tesla's strong.
I know, Roland. I know, Roland. I know.
All right, too late. My first thought when we started rolling over was short Intel. That's been weak the whole day. Like, name me a chip name outside of, AMD did too.
Yep.
But I was the one that we weren't paying attention to that we actually had a chance to break short.
AMD, damn you, AMD.
I'd be a little concerned with Intel. This is a great looking chart. But Intel, since this September ramp job, this is a very clean trend line that Intel breaks with, like, if it closes maybe like 1% down from where it is right here, then it's breaking this trend line. So I think Intel is on the precipice, let's just say, of a deeper dip to the downside. Till now, it's still holding the trend, so don't at me if it actually bounces from here and rallies. But I'm going to keep an eye on this because I go back to Intel's a short till it's not if it breaks this trend line on the daily. Adara?
Let's discuss the U.S. dollar, which is on it, I guess, 4-day winning streak now, and we are just below that 100 level. Again, we have not been above that level since August 1st, so it's been quite a few months. Let's see if we can surpass it here and now with a bit of a breakout. We did get 2 pieces of economic data today, which is, of course, exciting because it's been a bit of a light period for economic data over the last, now over a month with that U.S. government shutdown. But today we got 2 pieces of data. S&P manufacturing PMI a little bit higher than expected, 52.5 versus 52.2 expected, but then ISM manufacturing PMI, that's going to be the more closely watched of these 2 prints, coming in at 48.7, a little bit below here, estimates of 49.5. and the previous print of 49.1. Also on watch, Fed speak throughout the day. We had Fed's Goolsbee, who I wasn't even seeing on the schedule. He already made some comments today. He was a little bit hawkish, though certainly not as hawkish as the comments that we got from Fed's Bostic and Hammock on Friday. They both spoke starting at 12 p.m., and that was just a slew of hawkishness from both of these speakers, basically suggesting that they were not 100% confident in their decision to cut rates, along with the Fed during that meeting last Wednesday, where, again, we did get that 25 basis point rate cut, but there was one hawkish dissenting vote and one dovish dissenting vote as well. So just a little bit of context there. As we look at the CME Fed Watch tool, 70.3% of participants still expecting that 25 basis point cut, another cut coming through the next meeting, 30% expecting that rates will be held. Now, this is up a little bit here from Friday, when roughly 63% of participants were expecting a cut, but it's down from a week ago when we were almost 100% pricing in a cut. So the cut still seems likely, but how likely? Looks like that's anybody's guess. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Adara. Here, hold on a second. I gotta always do this, man, because
Thank
this is
you,
my favorite thing. Yeah, thank you,
Adara.
Much, Dara.
Thank you, Adara. All right, so look, man, this is how I trade. We talk about how simple it is, and it broke 202. Palantir came right back in. We did not average in. We just waited for it to break through. It breaks, we get out, it holds, we get back in. So from taking like a 15-cent hit to now well back in the money, 55 cents, well worth it there on PLTR. And I don't need to tell you, but there it goes upside again for Palantir. So that was obviously a good little reload situation. And yeah, we'll pat ourselves on the back for it. It's exactly what we were looking for. We're waiting for these prices. We wrote down Palantir, we wrote down AMD, we wrote down TQs. All the trades that I was happy with today, we wind up taking. So here it is back end now, 70 cents in the money. You're not going to see me take this 70-cent hit like that on PLTR. So glad to take what we did. And now push that rate back up to the upside rate now, creating this now back into our famed club that we really like. And there it is, man. It's your dollar club winner with Palantir again. So twice now. First time we made a little bit more than $1, and here it goes again, nicely cooking up to the upside there for PLTR. And again, it's what we wrote down, man. We liked the 202. It was our #1 idea on the sticky note. You can go find it at Trader TV Sean. And there it goes, man. Nice blow up there to the upside for PLTR. With only a few minutes left, we'll almost get ready to tell you what is for famed lunch. And hopefully it'll be a good one today and not tilapia. But if it's anything like, for the way I've been trading today, honestly, we'll take tilapia. I'll be like, I'm in a good mood here. It's been a couple great trades. Hopefully you guys are able to match those as well. And there's a super chat, $40 down.
Yeah, but that's not that much for Netflix.
Remember, Netflix is reverse splitting. We do have that coming. Not reverse splitting.
Well, if it drops $40 after the split,
yes.
Then we'll freak out, right? Like,
then it'll be $100.
Yeah, like that's we 100% after split. If this stock ever drops $40 in one session, you'll see me freaking out because I own some Netflix shares. But no, this is only a couple percentage points to the downside. Yep. So it's not really that bad. And remember, you pop on split news. It's not changing anything about the company. It's good for retail.
Get out the
I suppose. Oh, the other thing, and maybe they could get into the Dow. I don't know if anyone's due to get booted from the Dow, but I suppose Netflix could get themselves into the Dow with a split. So there's always that. But yeah, losing the 200-period moving average is bearish. Nothing about this. Someone asked me about. I think we talked about this last week, and I said I'd rather dip buy companies I like when they regain or hold the 200-period moving average, as opposed to like buying it when it's consolidating underneath. So yeah, you can get yourself a better price, but then to me, you could be entering along right when it's about to break down. I'd rather enter it along after it's made a high, and then I know I can just get out if it breaks 1085 and look for a better price on Netflix, which I think would be a gift if it gave you anything in that 1,000 area or something like that. Nvidia and Tesla are still going to be front of the mind, as Nvidia is trying, not succeeding yet, to hold on to VWAP. So it's still holding the line around the prior day high, but it's bottoming tail, which we jumped out of our last scalp trade, still slightly downward trending. It can always break this trend line for a long, or we can hold on to VWAP. Neither one of those things have happened just yet. Rivian Millionaire saying, go Roblox. Yeah, I was kind of hoping, you know what would have been? It would have been cool if Roblox, well, it's not cool if a stock is down 10%, but if this had been SSR, which it's not, it was SSR on Thursday and then a 10% down and then continuation on Friday, this would be an obvious reversion trade. But this is a clean trend break, but look at it not really go. Like, I always want things to go right away when they break the trend, because it's like it's supposed to be going from one mode to another. And this one just doesn't seem like it. So I find myself looking at the same names and not really many small caps out there. Like, it's been Tesla. And the funny thing about it, traded Amazon, IBIT, Kenvue, Nvidia, Tesla, and the one that was the loser was the IBIT short, which is hilarious because I just didn't get back into it.
Now it's 105.
No, it's not hilarious. It's just at the moment I stopped out, like everything else set up, like the Nvidia long that bounced off VWAP set up, and the Tesla reversion set up, and then Kenvue was at VWAP, and I didn't get back to IBIT, which is now down 3.7%. I know percentages don't matter when it comes to a 24-hour market, but it's instructive in that you can at least compare it to the Nasdaq, right? So like I can say, yeah, maybe it's 24-hour market, that doesn't matter, but the Nasdaq is up 0.3%. So right now, and this is ETH breaking through 36, by the way. I don't know why I had an ETH chart up, because that's looking nasty. But you're gonna hold underneath that prior support on Bitcoin. And all we have left before you do a 2-level breakdown is going to be this 104. Like, that's it. We got 104 on BTC, and then you have a sort of prior level breakdown. I don't know, that's what I'm calling it because I only have 4 lines in my Bitcoin chart. So it'll be like a 2-level pullback, which I think is perfectly reasonable if we lose 104 to see the high 90s. Like, that's not crazy to me. Like, that's how it's setting up right now on Bitcoin, but whatever. I guess I should have held the short.
Oh, yeah. Just like right now we should have held. I don't have the menu, so I just asked everybody. I can't find the menu for this week.
I think I think
what's for lunch, so hopefully we can get it very, very soon. But there it is right now, man. We'll just hot dog gun it up. Have some glizzies on this trade there today because there's another reload of Palantir. I mean, boom and boom. So those 2 trades holding the whole day for me today. TQs, we could have still stayed into it, and AMD is what it is. We punched out of that one. That's going to be by far the face slapper. Hopefully we can come back from our little swim and watch Palantir to the moon, right? We're going to wait to see if we can get a 204 area fill for this as it's still trying to go upside right here. We haven't talked too much about gold today. It's pretty flat, obviously there, 0.1 right there for gold and whatnot. So we'll have to wait to see what that is. Do you have the...
I just got it up just now.
Okay, you have the menu. Okay, so here we go.
It's hit the...
Yeah, you do it. Yeah, we'll do it. Here we go.
Oh, no, it's chicken.
Oh, it's chicken. Okay, there it is. All right.
What do you mean? Well, how is anyone ever surprised if I say it's chicken? Nobody should ever be surprised when we get chicken, specifically lemon herbed chicken, vegetable fried rice, roasted carrots and peppers, and chef's choice salad. I would say that's a very, that's a simple lunch that should just be a very much, like a B.
It'll be good.
Solid B.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to mess that one up.
I think with some salad.
Yeah, why not? Oh, see, the problem is now I won't say anything, but I just glanced at tomorrow.
See, this is why it's my segment, Neil.
No, I'm not saying
I'm trying to be
anything.
disciplined.
No, I'm not saying anything.
I know, but now you know. See, it's like this is the thing. This guy over here. What can we do?
I can't say anything, but I can't say anything about it.
Okay. All right. Good. All right. Well, nothing. Now I have a feeling for what tomorrow is already.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Hopefully it doesn't start with a T and end with an Appia. I don't know. If it's that, then we're gonna have a little bit of a situation there. Okay, good trading today, man. We'll run the gauntlet here today with AMD. It's somehow worse than tilapia. Okay, stay tuned for tomorrow, and we'll get Neil's opinion on what's worse than tilapia.
At least one personal thing.
Okay.
All right,
we'll give it a shot right there. I got to go. Tilapia plus chicken. All right, thanks, everybody. It's the midday show. Sharif is back, baby. So we'll see everybody at 2 p.m. Sharif and Joe, take it away, guys. Peace.